Whoa, time, Will!
This your bag, sir? Okay. All right. I'll watch the football. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Yep. How's everybody doing? Happy Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. Before we start the shit talking, hope everybody enjoyed their holiday. Hopefully you had the day off of work or school, or maybe they let you out of your group home for a couple hours today, took you a little field trip to the library or whatever it was. Hope you enjoyed your day. Hope you enjoyed your day. Last game of week one. And what an amazing week one it has been. Holy moly. Great games, upsets, close games, tight games. Great performances. Bad performances. Too. Berg's ready. Berg, you done fucked your blanket up already, dude. What are you doing? Don't mess the blanket up, buddy, bro. You gotta be on your blanket. How's everybody doing? We'll be getting underway here in just a few minutes. North Carolina and TCU, the debut of new North Carolina head coach Jordan Hudson, I think is her last name. Coach of North Carolina against TCU. It's a home game for North Carolina. ACC versus Big 12. We'll see how this one goes. We will see how this one goes. All right. Let's get situated here. Joshua Toporek. Thank you for the super chat. He says, Notre Dame fan here to eat my crow. Well, the good news is, Josh, for yourself and for Notre Dame, is that even though you lost to Miami, that was a non-con game. So as long as Notre Dame goes on to win their conference, they're guaranteed a spot. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. They're too damn scared to be at a conference. That's right. Notre Dame's season actually is over already. Because you're not running the table of Texas A&M, Arkansas, Boise State, Southern Cal, whatever 9 service academies you play, and whatever 4 or 5 other podunk ACC teams you play. You're not running the table. So best case scenario, 10-2. And I don't know, maybe you can get together with the Florida man and celebrate whatever Gasparilla Bowl y'all go to. I don't know. Jay Sipes says, F the Gumps, run tell that. Yeah, the Gumps are down bad. They want to fire Kalen DeBoer, but they can't. Kalen DeBoer's not getting fired, guys. 77 million reasons why he's not getting fired. It's just not happening. Kalen DeBoer will be the coach for every game this season for Alabama and for every game next season. In the age of rev share, no one's paying a $77 million buyout. It's not happening. So, stuck with Kalen DeBoer, so you better figure something else out. Will Eubank says, over under 2.5 more fake natties claimed by Alabama. If things get any worse, they are going to have to start claiming fake natties again. They'll go back and find some more. I'm sure there's some more years where they finished third in the SEC that they can claim natties for. They already claimed natties for a couple of years where they finished third in the SEC. Man, what a great day. What a great weekend. What a great week one of college football. I want to talk about something else, too. Let's do it real quick here before the game starts. Week 2 of the college football season has been catching a lot of shit all off season. People saying, there's no good games on. Week 2 is terrible. Why can't they spread it out? Everything's in week 1. Now, it doesn't compare to week 1. That is true. That is true. But if you actually looked at the schedule of games, let's start with Friday night. There are no Thursday games, but let's start with Friday. James Madison and Louisville. That's 2 potential playoff teams, guys. James Madison is a legit G5 team. Louisville, I think, is a legitimate threat to potentially win the ACC. That's a great game. That is a great... Don't sleep on James Madison. That's a good game. Northern Illinois at Maryland, that's not a good game. On to Saturday. There's some sneaky good game. Illinois and Duke. Duke won 9 games last year. Illinois won 10. That could be a good game. Illinois at Duke, Big Ten versus ACC. Illinois is only favored by 2.5 points in that game, guys. That's going to be a good game. Baylor and SMU. Baylor in danger of starting 0-2. SMU made the ACC title game and the playoffs last year. That's a good game. Iowa and Iowa State. Now, this will be a boring game to watch, but it'll be a good game. Like the final score of this game will be 7-4 or something like that. But a rivalry game. This is still at noon, by the way. Virginia and NC State. Oklahoma State and Oregon. No way Oklahoma State's as bad as they were last year, right? Now, Oregon should win that game, but are you telling me you're not even going to keep an eye on that game? That's not interesting to you at all? That's interesting to me. Ole Miss and Kentucky. Ole Miss lost to Kentucky last year. This was Kentucky's only SEC win last year. That's a decent game to watch at 3:30. Kansas and Missouri is the best game of the week, and nobody is talking about it. Everybody wants to talk about Michigan and Oklahoma. Now, those are two bigger brands. This is the best game of the week. Kansas and Missouri. Missouri's favored by 6.5. Breaking news. That's too many points. Kansas 100% can win that game. That's going to be a great game. South Florida and Florida. Florida's winning the World Series because DJ Lagway had 120 yards passing against Epstein Island over the weekend. South Florida beat up on Boise State, a playoff team. Now you tell me, what's the more impressive win? South Florida beating Boise State 34-7? Or DJ Lagway having 120 yards passing against Epstein Island? This is going to be an interesting game. 4:15. Florida should win easily, but it's worth keeping an eye on. Army and Kansas State. Arizona State and Mississippi State. A lot of you don't get a lot of opportunities to watch Arizona State play. Maybe you tune into that one Saturday night. Get you a look at Arizona State early this season. And, of course, Michigan, Oklahoma, that's the one everybody's been talking about forever. Bryce Underwood, freshman quarterback on the road in Norman against that Brent Venables defense. I like Oklahoma there. Oklahoma's favored by 5.5. I don't know about the spread, but I like Oklahoma to win. Vandy and Virginia Tech ended up being a great game last year. Clay Helton's the head coach at Georgia Southern. He returns to Southern Cal to take on the Trojans Saturday night. Boston College and Michigan State are both 1-0. UL Monroe and Alabama is going to be a great game. This will be a close one here. Could go either way. Coin flip type game there. And here, UCLA and UNLV. Now, it's driving the Florida fans up the wall, the whole UNLV deal, but everybody's pulling for UNLV in this one. That's right. Everybody wants to see Nico start 0-2, don't you? Yeah, you do. Let's go, UNLV. Let's go. Stanford and BYU, late night game, 10:15. So, does that stack up to week one? No, of course not. But that's 5 or 6 really good games, I think. Week 2's getting a bad rap. All right, opening kick. North Carolina's going to have the ball first. Return to kickoff out across the 10 to the 15, out of bounds around the 16 or 17 yard line. Not a good return. Good coverage by TCU. And we'll get a look at the North Carolina offense here first. Gio Lopez is the quarterback, a transfer from, I think, South Alabama. Is that right? I know he's a transfer from a lower level. I think it was South Alabama he transferred from. So anyway, we'll get a look at the North Carolina and the Bill Belichick offense here to start things off on our Labor Day game. Will Eubank says over under 2.5 more fake natty. Oh, we read that one. Thank y'all for the super chats, by the way. All right, here comes the first play, and then I'll get back to the chat. All right, Gio Lopez under center here to start things off. 2 wide, 1 running back. Tight end in motion. Snap. They're going to hand it off. Right up the gut. Has a nice hole. Picks up 9 yards on first down. Right up the middle. 2nd and 1 coming up for North Carolina. Jose Albino says, Notre Dame fan here. Lou, I bought you an actual gold Notre Dame helmet for your wall, and your season is over videos. I will mail it this week. I appreciate that. Jose. I think I have a couple of helmets up at the post office now, but they were closed today. So I'm going to the post office Tuesday or Wednesday. But stay in touch with me. Let me know when you send it so I know about when to go look for it at the post office box. But I appreciate that, bud. 2nd and 1, North Carolina gains about 2, maybe 3 yards, picks up the first down. Good start to the drive for North Carolina. Big Daddy Land, thank you for the super chat, sir. Good to see you in here tonight. He says, I can't wait for Louisiana Monroe to beat Bama to have the dynasty come full circle. Well, the dynasty ended 5 years ago, but Alabama's dynasty ended 5 years ago. They haven't won a natty since 2020, so the dynasty's been over for quite some time. But I see what you're saying. They did beat Nick Saban in his first year. All right, shotgun this time with 3 wide. Lopez in a shotgun. Snap. Another handoff. Another huge hole and another 9-yard gain. North Carolina getting plays in chunks here. Hood with the carry. Up close to the 40. North Carolina has 70 new players. 70. Play action pass this time. Lopez in the pocket, going deep. Has a man wide open. Caught all the way down to the 25 on a deep corner route. North Carolina is cooking early here. TCU looks lost, confused, and outmanned here early in this one. North Carolina going right down the field. Huge chunk plays here. 9 yards, 3 yards, 9 yards, now about 40 yards on this one. And I mean, he's just wide open on a really deep crossing corner route. Perfect throw by Gio Lopez, too. Dropped it in a bucket. North Carolina in business here on the 24 of TCU. Pistol formation again with 3 wide. Running back really deep. Running back 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Play action, throws, caught on a slant to the 5. 1st and goal, North Carolina. Boy, they look good. They look sharp on offense, North Carolina does. This is a surprise to me. This is a surprise to me. I did a poll at the beginning of the stream for y'all to put a bet in on the over-under on points, and y'all took under, I think it was under 55 points was the bet we put in. So we'll see if we'll see how we do on that on the over-under betting. On this game from the poll in the chat. But 1st and goal here in North Carolina. Just under 12 minutes to go in the first quarter. This is the first possession of the game here. Another pistol formation for North Carolina. Now the running back moves up beside Gio Lopez. Play action. Lopez wants to keep. And he's going to get hit and dropped. First negative play for North Carolina. A loss of about 3 that time on a quarterback sweep. Safety, it looked like, came up and made the play. It's going to be 2nd and goal now, Tar Heels, from the 8. DK, what's up, buddy? Good to see you in here. He says, good morning, Lou. Hope you've had a good weekend of college football. I think we all have. I know some of us, well, by some of us, I mean Alabama fans, might have had our teams lose, but shit. If you're a college football fan, this has been an amazing 5 days of football. 2nd and goal from the 8. They're going to hand it off this time. And into the end zone. Touchdown, North Carolina. And I'm going to be honest, they made that look pretty damn easy. Mr. Personality on the sideline there, Bill Belichick. Michael Jordan up in the luxury box. Did you see that? Is that Randy Moss up there too? Had Michael Jordan and Randy Moss up in the luxury boxes. Thomas Wilson, thank you for the super chat. He says Bill Belichick was on the Epstein list. Damn, man. Damn. Lots of people are on the Epstein list. It doesn't necessarily mean that they had sex with underage kids. So Bill Belichick likes his kids slightly legal. I think we need to make sure we point that out. Bill Belichick prefers his sexual partners to be slightly legal. Just being on the Epstein list doesn't necessarily mean you were screwing around with 14-year-olds, right? Let's just make sure we point that out. This is a Leonardo. Speaking of barely legal, this is a commercial for a Leonardo DiCaprio movie. One battle after another. It's first I've heard of this. One battle after another. September 26th. Leonardo DiCaprio. Speaking of barely legal. As soon as Leonardo DiCaprio's girlfriend turns 25, he dumps him and picks up another 18-year-old, don't he? Don't get me wrong. I love Leonardo DiCaprio as an actor. He's one of the best actors working today, and almost all of his movies are amazing. But that man ain't dating you once you turn 25. He's getting rid of you. He has to. Lou, I got a ticket to the Tennessee-Georgia game. Well, you should use it and go to the game then. That's what you ought to do. It's going to be a good one. If TCU marches, this will be a shootout. Good morning, Lou. Good morning to you, Nick. Good to see you in here, buddy. The only one who can save Bama is Butch Jones. Oh, my God. Good luck prying him away from Arkansas State. Lagway should be Heisman frontrunner after Saturday. Why? He threw for 120 yards. Why would anybody put him as a Heisman frontrunner? I haven't seen Edward in over a year. I have no idea what happened to Edward. I never got paid out for the Tennessee -14 bet. I sent 25 to your PayPal. Email me. Email me your PayPal. I'll send it to you right now. I paid out the Alabama bets yesterday. You got to email me right after the game with where you want me to send the money to. Just email me with your PayPal information. I'll send it to you. Email me with the amount and the game and your PayPal, and I'll send it to you. Can you email Edward and bring him back? No. No, I don't have any interest in that. Lou admitted less than scared of Florida. You want me to admit that I'm less than scared of Florida? Okay. I am less than scared of Florida. What does that even mean that I'm scared of? Is Florida going to knock on my door and do something to me? What does that even mean that I'm scared of Florida? What is that supposed to mean? Is Florida hiding under my bed? Like, what does that mean? Utah and Kansas to the Big Ten. Utah and Kansas, to me, right now look like the best teams in the Big 12, maybe. I need to see Kansas play somebody legitimate, I guess. But, boy, Kansas has looked good against two nobodies. All right, 1st and 10 TCU. Empty backfield here, 5 wide. Pass complete on a slant, bobbled it, but able to bring it in and picks up 12. Both offenses looking good early in this one. Georgia fears Florida. There's no way you believe that. I mean, do you know anything at all about college football or high-level athletics? I don't think anybody fears anybody. But least of all would Georgia fear Florida. Hasn't Georgia beat them like 8 times in the last 9 years? But I don't think any team fears any other team. I think people who say that have never played sports at all. Nobody that plays sports, particularly at this high of a level, fears anybody. So when I see people type that, that tells me that they probably didn't play anything beyond maybe rec league when they were 8. 2nd and 8 for TCU now. They are on their own 39. North Carolina went right down the field and scored. If you tuned in late, chunk plays down the field, on the ground and in the air. TCU keeps it on the ground. 2nd and 8, runs into a wall. No gain. 3rd and 8 coming up now for TCU. The TCU QB is a furry. I saw that on Twitter. I don't know if it's real or trolling. Though you can't tell anymore if people edited or photoshopped something or what. So I don't know what to believe with that. I have no idea. My guess is that it was probably fake and made up by some other fan base, but I have no idea. 3rd and 7 now, back to throw. Gets rid of it. Miscommunication there. The receiver stopped his route. The quarterback sailed it 10 yards past him. And TCU, after picking up a 1st down, fails to convert and is going to have to punt it away right back to North Carolina. Did you see that Ryan Williams has his own teddy bear? I did see that. Alabama is a soft fucking team right now. Alabama is what I'm calling them from now on. They're Alabama. They got shoved around, pushed around. There's no alphas on that team. We made fun of Malachi Moore last year, kind of, for being the head coach and yelling at the coaches, but they need somebody like that. I don't know what has happened there, but they are in bad shape. And I'm not joking. When you look at Alabama's schedule, they might be hovering around bowl eligibility. I mean, just based off of what we've seen so far, try to find 6 wins on their schedule. I mean, they got to play at Georgia. They got to play at South Carolina. They got to play Oklahoma. They got to play LSU. They got to play Texas. They got to play Missouri. If they don't get some things figured out, forget the playoffs. They're going to be in November trying to get a 6th win. I mean, they looked really bad. They looked really bad. And worst of all, it just looked like they didn't care. Yeah, his son is his defensive coordinator. The theory is that Bill Belichick only took the job so that he could eventually hand it over to his son. We'll see if that winds up being true or not. Alabama ain't the same Bama I watched growing up. Multiple players got caught just jogging on the field during live play like it was a scrimmage. I didn't happen to notice that, but I don't doubt it. It really just looked... I mean, they looked uninspired, uninterested, unprepared. It was... I mean, I know it's funny because it's Alabama, but they just looked really bad. Jeremy Pruitt could fix Bama? Yeah. He has like a 10-year show cause, doesn't he? I think he's stuck in high school for a while. I went to my first ever game on Saturday. It was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Buddy, there's nothing like it, man. I'm glad you finally got to go. There is nothing like experiencing a college football game in person. I don't know what game you went to. They're all fun. But was it a big one or like a low-level one? Because there is if you get a chance to go to a big game, rivalry game, or like a top 10 matchup or primetime game, like those are, it's undescribable. Mr. Grisdale, thank you for the super chat. He says, go Bucks, everyone watching, like the video. Yeah, y'all hit the thumbs up. That's the easiest thing you can do to help support the show and the channel. Just hit that thumbs up. It doesn't take any time, effort, or energy on your part, but it is a big help to me. Y'all go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Anybody hit anything on the Sleeper app this weekend? I missed mine. I did a 4-pick play on the Sleeper app. I hit 3 out of 4, but Cade Klubnik burned me. I had Cade Klubnik over 1.5 touchdowns, and of course he didn't come anywhere close to that. I hit the other 3 though. I had Zachariah Branch over his receiving yards number, Nick Harbor over his receiving yards number, and Garrett Nussmeier under his passing number. Those 3 hit, but I missed the Cade Klubnik pick. So I went 3 out of 4, but on that sleeper deal, however many picks you make, you got to hit them all. You know, you can choose how many picks you do, but you got to hit them all. Any of y'all get lucky and hit any? They had a bad game plan versus Michigan, and so they decided to use it against Alabama. You ever played ball boards? That was a thing when I was young. I've never heard of that before. Ball boards. I have no idea what that is. UNC is looking good so far. Yeah, they went right down the field on their first drive. I mean, they made it look easy. Uncle Lou, your football helmet shelves look good. I like the contrast with Walker. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it, Walker. Yeah, I think it looks good with the black wall. The problem is I had a ton of black helmets. Like the Vandy helmet. You can't even see the Vandy helmet because it's literally matte black. The same matte black almost that the wall is. And I had a lot of black helmets. Some of them I have changed out for regular helmets, but it's going to take me a while to get them all changed out. Lou, is Bama a huge degenerate now? No, I'm a huge degenerate and proud of it with the gambling routine. Who got timed out? Oh, yeah, don't spam the chat the same thing over and over again. If you type something and nobody responds, it's because it's not interesting at all. So typing it over and over again a million times ain't going to change that. So just don't spam the chat, and nobody will time you out. Hey, Octavian, the Oregon man says Lagway sucks. Oh, God, don't get Octavian going with that. Don't get it. Lagway looked good. He only played 1 half, but they were playing Epstein Island. Or who were they playing? Was it Epstein Island they played? No, Long Island. My bad. So I think he only played like 1 half. He looked good while he was in there, though. It's going to be a sack on the North Carolina quarterback. Big loss on the play that time, so that's going to put North Carolina in its first real 3rd and long situation. We'll see what they come up with here. Can they keep the drive alive, or can TCU's defense make a stop? Tar Heels up 7-0. They went right down the field on their first possession, made it look really easy. Big plays. But they get wrapped up in they blew the whistle that time. Hey, Lou, I just want to give you some stock market advice. Invest in NASCAR stock right now. You'll make a crap ton of money. Yeah, NASCAR viewership and TV ratings about to go through the roof now that Bama's back to being dog shit again. Biggs Mike, what's up, buddy? Good to see you in here. Thanks for 5 days of streaming. Gonna be a great season. Yeah, it is. You got a big one coming up this weekend, Mike, at Oklahoma. I saw the line today. Oklahoma's a 5.5 point favorite. What do you think about that? Everyone watching, like the video. Yeah, of course, like the video. Georgia's a terrible football program. Yeah, they haven't even beat the 85 Bears. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes around here. Like, nobody's ever beat nobody. Nobody's ever played nobody. In Georgia's case so far this year, it's true, though. Marshall's terrible. I know they were a 10-win team last year in Conference USA, but they lost their entire team to the portal. So it was pretty easy to see that beatdown coming. I noticed there are 625 people watching, but only 220 hit the thumbs up. Let's up those numbers. Yeah, we need to get it over 50%. So if there's 625 in here, let's see if we can get the thumbs up over 300. That'd be great. Is Belichick done after this year? I don't know about a one and done thing. I think he'll probably stick around for a couple of years. Coach Splitter, what's up, buddy? Good to see you in here. Travis Brown says, read the breaking news article on Michigan and sign stealing from CBS. What? Isn't that like 3-year-old news, or is there something new about that? Uh-oh. Former University of Michigan football player leaked unauthorized materials and lied to the NCAA, sources say. The University of Michigan football team kicked off its season Saturday with a win over New Mexico, blah, blah, blah. Immediately after, blah, 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 in a 79-page report on sign stealing, blah, 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 blah. In the 79-page report, the ruling regarding signing the NCAA revealed that a student-athlete lied about his claim that former linebackers coach Chris Partridge asked players not to cooperate with investigators. Partridge was fired in November of 23, just weeks after the investigation began. However, Partridge was not penalized by the NCAA. Okay. I mean, I don't think anything else is happening with the Michigan deal, but it looks like they caught a player lying or some former player lying about it. I mean, we all know what happened. I don't need to see. I don't need anybody to tell me. I mean, anybody with any sense knows what was going on there. Michigan was cheating. They got caught, and that's that. I mean, it's kind of water under the bridge at this point. I missed the third down play. What happened? I missed the third down play looking up that article. Did they get it? Did they not get it? I'm assuming they didn't get it because we're on a commercial break. But Big Ronnie, thank you for the super chat, bud. I appreciate that. They got stopped, run for nothing. Okay. So TCU will have the ball back now, down 7. Do you think North Carolina will be better off than Colorado after Sanders and Belichick? I don't understand the question. Will they be better off than Colorado after Sanders and Belichick? I don't really understand. I don't really understand the question. Missed the UJ game, woo. How did Gunnar Stockton look? He looked good. Yeah, he looked good. He only played about 2 quarters. They took him out about halfway through the third quarter. Ryan Puglisi looked good too, to back up. But Gunnar looked good. He looked good running the ball too, which that's what was missing in the Notre Dame game. That's what made me mad with the offense in the Notre Dame game, besides the offensive line being terrible, which it was all of last year, was that Gunnar Stockton started in that game, but it was the same offense Carson Beck was running. And it doesn't make any sense to play Gunnar Stockton if you're not going to do some running stuff, some RPOs, zone reads, things like that. Give him an opportunity to use his legs, and they did that a lot in this game against Marshall. Now it was against Marshall, so, you can't, I'm not drawing any conclusions in terms of like how many yards rushing he had and all that. The point is the play calls were at least there. It's at least clear that they have revamped the offense a little bit to try to take advantage of some of Gunnar Stockton's positives, which are, his ability to run around. Mays Hayes, go blue, FOSU and OU, 27-16. Biggs Mike says Michigan's winning 27-16. We'll see. You're going to hold Oklahoma to less points than you held New Mexico? All right. You're not worried about Moneyline Mateer? Maybe Moneyline Mateer put a bet in on Michigan. I don't know. All right, good field position for TCU following the punt. Quick pass out in the flat to the running back, but good defense. Tackles him behind the line of scrimmage for a loss of about 1 yard. 2nd and long coming up for TCU, their second possession of the game. Water under the bridge. Buckeyes have to beat Michigan. The cheaters up north this year. No excuses. Go Bucks. Yeah, I basically agree with that. Number 1 fan of the U, thank you for the super chat, but it says message retracted, so I can't read it. But I appreciate it. Flag down on this one. Let's see what this is going to be here. Passing play on 2nd down, but there's a flag in the secondary. Of course, the referees have to have a 5-minute meeting before they tell us what the penalty is, so they can drag this game out and make sure it lasts 3.5 hours or more. Yeah, they're going to get North Carolina with pass interference. I didn't see it. Well, he did grab the jersey a little, but boy, that's a pretty petty call. That's a pretty petty call there. I mean, he did grab his jersey, but you see that kind of hand fighting a lot, and it doesn't usually get called, but they caught North Carolina with it there. I don't know about that. I don't really like that call there. That seems a little petty, but it is going to give TCU a 1st down. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Anyway, it gives TCU a 1st down on the North Carolina 44. Jet sweep, trying to get to the corner. Does. Picks up about 5 before he's shoved out of bounds. It's going to be 2nd and 5 now. Is Hoover the first ever furry football player? Well, if the story was true, then yeah, but it's of course made up. Has anyone checked on the state of Bama? TCU on the ground, 2nd and 6, picks up about 5. TCU in business here on the North Carolina side of the field. They're down 7-0 early in this one. North Carolina scored on their first possession and then punted it on their second possession, and here we are. Hitch pass to the wide receiver. Picks up the first down, but that's it. Needed 1, gained 2. First and 10 TCU on the North Carolina 38-yard line. 34, 33, 34. How would you rate the refs this year so far? I haven't noticed anything. I mean, it's been 1 week. I mean, obviously there's mistakes in every game, but I haven't, from what I've seen so far, it hasn't been any worse than normal. First and 10 TCU on the North Carolina 33. They're going to keep it on the ground. Has a hole off right tackle, picks up about 6 yards. 2nd and 4 coming up now for TCU. Amar, the ATM. What's up, buddy? Thank you for the super chat. He says, hey, Lou, I've been watching for 6 years now, and I'm now 4 months away from graduating college. Best college football YouTuber on the platform. Join the Patreon, everyone. Hey, congrats on the college deal, man. That is no easy task. That's a big deal, man. Congratulations on that. And I appreciate you watching over the years and the support on the Patreon page, man. That means a lot. Into the end zone. Touchdown TCU. Just a go route up the sideline, and the wide receiver ran by the defensive back, and we're going to be all tied up. Pending the extra point here, we'll be all tied up. And we got us a game. 4:08 to go in the first quarter. Each team has scored once. Yeah, the Patreon page really is what keeps my head above water, especially in the off season. It's hard to make a lot of money with college football content from February to July. But because you guys are so good to me with the super chats and the Patreon, I'm able to usually save enough money during the season so I don't have to go hungry in May and June. Yeah, without the Patreon, I'd probably have to bag groceries or something. I have no discernible skills, you know. Or what is it people tell me? Oh, yeah, I'd have to get a real job or whatever that is. Yeah. Ballard has been arrested for public intoxication. Clint Eastwood, that is fake news, buddy. Come on, man. That is fake news. I would love to. Clint Eastwood has been dogging Ballard in the comment section for years. I don't even remember how it started. But it's funny every time. What's up, Clint? FEMA's been deployed to Bama, flooding due to gump tears. That wouldn't surprise me. They're down bad, man. They are down bad. They are down bad. Number one fan of you. Thank you for the super chat. Good win for y'all last night. That was a hell of a game. I know the Miami fans are bragging today, and they should be. It's a good win for them. But, boy, they had to be nervous as shit in the fourth quarter of that game when Notre Dame scored 10 unanswered points to tie it up. I'm sitting there watching the game, and I'm going, there's no way Miami is fixing to blow a second-half lead, double-digit second-half lead. We saw them do that over and over again last year. The defense let them down like that in the second half over and over, and then Notre Dame hits that touchdown on the busted play that gets them weight. And I'm like, how in the world are they letting this happen a second year in a row? But Miami put a drive together at the end when they needed it, went down there and kicked the field goal. It was a hell of a game. But I know the Miami fans' buttholes had to be clenching up tight as shit when that defense started to let them down there in the fourth quarter. Because it had to just give you, like, flashbacks to last season. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bama has actually become soft. Yeah, Alabama is their new name. They're soft. They got pushed around. The players are jogging. They have no... It looks like they don't have any energy, or almost like they don't even want to be there. It's hard to understand. It's hard to understand how bad they looked on Saturday. It was really something. It was really something. All right, 4:08 to go in the first quarter. We're all tied at 7 after TCU just scored to tie it up. North Carolina now with the ball back on their own 25, 1st and 10. Gio Lopez under center, motion. Going to hand it off, right tackle, looking for a hole. Can't find one. Spins forward for maybe a yard. 2nd and about 9 coming up now for the Tar Heels. Miami defense surprised me overall. Both defenses I thought played pretty good in that game. I tell you what's a problem. What Miami's offensive line is going to be a problem for anybody they play. Miami's offensive line is unbelievable. If that's not the best offensive line in college football, then somebody's going to have to tell me where it is, because that offensive line is amazing. It looks like an NFL offensive line. It's unbelievable how good Miami's offensive line is. Handoff on second down, stuffed in the backfield, going to lose a yard on 2nd and 9. That's going to make it 3rd and 10. And the TCU defense has tightened up here after that first North Carolina possession where they really went right down the field, made it look easy. But these last 2 possessions, the TCU defense has really stepped it up. North Carolina looking at another 3rd and long here. 3rd and 10 from their 25. What does Chess Hall do these days? I have no idea. No clue. I don't care either. I assume he's still alive, but I honestly don't know. 3rd and 10. Back to throw. Gio Lopez looking, going deep. Overthrown that time. Took a hit at the end, too. And North Carolina, for the second possession in a row, is going to have to punt it away. TCU is going to get the ball back here with 2:45 to go in the first quarter. Does Vandy beat Virginia Tech again? Probably. It is at Virginia Tech this time, and that can be a tough place to play. I think it'll be a good game. I haven't really started to make any predictions yet for next week's games outside of the Michigan-Oklahoma game, just because we've been talking about that one all offseason. I think it's going to be hard for Bryce Underwood as a true freshman to go into Norman, Oklahoma and get a win against that Brent Venables defense. I mean, even last year when Oklahoma wasn't a great team, they still had a really good defense. Offense was their problem last year. And if you saw them play this weekend, it looks like they got a lot of that figured out. John Mateer put up video game numbers. I mean, it was against a nobody. Much tougher task for Oklahoma this week, too, having to play that Michigan defense. And defense travels. So I'm expecting a low-scoring game in Norman. But I just don't know if I can trust a true freshman quarterback, Bryce Underwood, for Michigan to go in there and win that game. First and 10, TCU. They're on their own 30. They're going to keep it on the ground. No gain. Good defense by North Carolina that time at point of attack. 2nd and 10 coming up now for TCU. Lou, who you got in Kansas, Missouri? It's going to be hard for me to pick against Kansas. They have looked, and I ain't played nobody. Who have they played? I know they played 2 bad teams, but holy shit. They have looked dominant on both sides of the ball. And they're going to have the best player on the field in Jalen Daniels. So it's going to be hard to go against Kansas in that one. But I think it's going to be a great game. I don't know why more people aren't talking about that game. I think that's a better game than Oklahoma-Michigan, just like entertainment-wise. The teams might not be better. I don't know. But like that's going to be an entertaining game, Kansas and Missouri. Like Oklahoma-Michigan, like nobody's going to be surprised if that's like a 20-13 game. That Kansas-Missouri game could end up being like 45-38 or something. Like that's going to be a great game. Yeah, rivalry game too. Old throwback Big 12. That's going to be a great game, Kansas and Missouri. A great game. I like Kansas in that one. I'm probably going to pick Kansas in that one. I've been really impressed with what I've seen from Kansas. I mean, Missouri beat somebody 100-0 too, so, we'll give them their credit for that. But I don't know, man. Missouri and Jalen Daniels, a healthy Kansas team is dangerous. I mean, their problem has been injuries and being able to, sustain it over the course of a year. But that Jalen Daniels is a problem. 2nd and 9, the TCU quarterback scrambles, caught from behind after maybe a 4-yard gain. Under a minute to go in the first quarter. We're all tied at 7 here. I need to add to that must-watch game list. Yeah, that is, and there's not a whole lot of must-watch games this weekend. There's a handful of really good ones, but nothing like this last week. But I'm definitely watching that Kansas-Missouri game. I don't know what the streaming schedule will be yet. I'll know tomorrow. I'll put a poll up on Patreon tomorrow. My guess is that the Patreon folks will vote for the Michigan-Oklahoma game, and so we'll probably be live streaming that on Patreon, but I won't know for sure until I put the poll up tomorrow. What's up, Utah, man? Utah looked really good. You might be more right than me, Utah, man, when it comes to Utah this year. I've already added Utah to my list of 8 Big 12 teams that could win it. They look really good. USC versus Oklahoma in a playoff game at Oklahoma would go crazy. Oh, yeah. Well, it wouldn't even have to be a playoff game, even if it was just a bowl game. But, yeah, that would be yeah. Yeah, the Lincoln Riley connection there would make that a must-watch game. Kentucky Ole Miss is the only SEC game. Yeah, that could be a good one too. I mean, last year that was Kentucky's only SEC win, was against a pretty good Ole Miss team. So a revenge game for Ole Miss this year, but that could be a good one too. Ole Miss looked good this past weekend. Austin Simmons is a good quarterback. After watching some of the Ole Miss game on YouTube just earlier today, I think I might have been right about Ole Miss. Their skill position players, I think, are going to be okay, just like last year. But I don't think they have the players along the lines of scrimmage and the front seven on defense that they had last year. I think that's where they're going to take a step back this year, is along their lines of scrimmage. But Austin Simmons is a really good quarterback. They've got good wide receivers. The offense looked good. But when they play stiff competition, I think their offensive and defensive fronts are going to let them down this year. The Auburn win isn't really that impressive. How did you have good wide receivers and still run the ball? I don't want to say the win wasn't impressive at all. I mean, they played a Power 4 opponent on the road and won. And Auburn is basically a 6-win team for the last 5 years. So it's a good win for Auburn. But I think some of the overreaction about how good Auburn is unjustified. Their offensive line was terrible in that game. The reason Jackson Arnold had all those rushing yards is because they couldn't block Baylor. I mean, every time he dropped back to throw the ball, he was under immediate pressure. Now, he's a magician, and he was able to get away more times than not and scramble and pick up yards and all that, and that's great. But, boy, that offensive line was bad. Really bad. And they gave up 600 yards. Their defense gave up 600 yards to Baylor. So, I don't know. It's a good win for Auburn because they've been a 5 or 6 win team forever, but you know, some people talking about now Auburn's winning the SEC or winning 10 games and all that. I don't see that. I don't see that. Beating Toledo by a touchdown means Kentucky is in for a long season. Well, last year Toledo beat an SEC team, so, you know, it's better than losing. Beating Toledo by a touchdown is better than losing. Was it Mississippi State, I think, last year? Got beat by that same Toledo team. What do you think is better, Jeremiah Love or Nick Singleton? Boy, I really like Jeremiah Love. I think the combination of Nick Singleton and Katron Allen is better than the combination of Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price. So the 2 running backs for each, I would take Penn State's 2 over Notre Dame's 2. But if I can only take one, I'm probably taking Jeremiah Love. But it's close. I mean, I think those are 2 of the best backs in football. I'd be happy with either one. They're both better than anybody Georgia has. Lou, I know you miss Beck. I don't miss him. I mean, he's good. He's a great quarterback, but I don't miss him. I'm all right with Gunnar Stockton, but Beck's a great quarterback. You can't troll me on the Beck thing. I haven't changed my tune on Carson Beck. He's a great quarterback. You know, some fans, whenever somebody transfers, they act like they're garbage and they were never any good and blah, blah, blah. Carson Beck was the best player on Georgia's team last year. I'm hoping Nate Fraser has a great year. He looked okay against Marshall. I mean, it's hard to get an indication from the Marshall game of what Georgia's going to do in real games, but I mean, they played 5 or 6 running backs. Everybody got 4 or 5 carries, but you know they all had some good runs. TCU 1st and 10. They keep it on the ground into North Carolina territory down to the 43, gain of about 6, maybe 7. Second down coming up for TCU. We're all tied at 7. Second quarter just underway in this one. They're at the 43 of North Carolina. They're going to hand it off again. Close to the first down. I think he got it. Needed 3. Looks like he got 3.5. First down, TCU. Ryan Maggard, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Good to see you in here tonight. He says, so glad football is back. Thanks for all the content. Keep going on High Top as well. Got to keep Shelton honest. And shout out to Big Vol Daddy, R.I.P. Yeah, shout out to BVD, my buddy there. Yeah, I like Shelton. They always treat me good when I go over on their show. I like those guys over there at High Top Sports. They try to troll me on Twitter sometimes, but I like those guys. TCU, another big gain on the ground, close to another first down, picked up about 9, maybe 10 yards, might be another first down. If not, it's going to be close. Half a yard short, 2nd and short coming up for TCU. Dogs defense had shades of 21-22 on Saturday. Thanks for keeping it on the down low. Defense played great. Defense played really good. Breaking tackles. Look at this running back for TCU. It's only a 3-yard gain, but boy, he had to earn every inch of that one, didn't he? He had to earn every inch of that one. Tough run there. This running back's tougher than anybody on Alabama's roster. Look at that. Lou had South Carolina upsetting Alabama this year. I think you may be right on that one. By the time that game gets played, it might not even be considered an upset. I mean, at this point, South Carolina might end up being favored in that game. Lou, I think Raylan Wilson might be the best player on UGA. Yeah, it might be. I really like C.J. Allen, but he was a little disappointing to me last year. We'll see if he gets it together this year, but C.J., out of those two, C.J. Allen was the one that I thought would like become a potential Butkus Award finalist. But Raylan Wilson has been really impressive second half of last year and of course, early this year. Back to throw on 1st and 10. TCU in the red zone. Into the end zone. Nobody home. Overthrew everybody that time out of the back of the end zone. Going to be 2nd and 10 now for TCU. TCU quarterback looking like a Heisman. I don't know about that. No one looks dominant this year. It's wide open. Oh, they're going to get TCU. Was that pass interference on... Oh, yeah. Pass interference on TCU. Offensive pass interference. Yeah, that might be a makeup call from the other one. You know, they called a pass interference on North Carolina that I didn't think should have been called. I don't think that one should have been called on TCU, but that might have been a makeup call from earlier. 1st and 25 now for TCU. They done backed themselves up and put themselves in a hole here. 1st and 25 after the penalty. They're on the 28. Play action. Throws. Caught. Down at the 16-yard line. 2nd down coming up now for TCU. What'd you think about South Carolina versus Virginia Tech? I think our run game struggled the first half. South Carolina's going to have problems on their offensive line. If South Carolina doesn't get where they want to go, I think it's going to be because of that offensive line. I don't know that offensive line is going to be able to handle whatever high-level competition they play this year. Now, they've got Lenore Sellers, so he'll be able to work some magic, kind of like Jackson Arnold against Baylor, and run around and make a few plays that break down. But over the course of the season, it seems like that offensive line for South Carolina might be their downfall. Nicholas Harbor was amazing, though. Nicholas Harbor is... Good luck covering him. I don't know, you know... Who do you cover him with? He's bigger than any cornerback you have, and he's faster than any safety you have. I mean, the guy's got Olympic speed, and he's the size of a tight end. Oh boy, he almost caught that, but he dropped it into the end zone. Incomplete pass. It's going to be 4th and 7. Probably going to have to settle for a field goal here, which is good for the comment section under pick. Thank you, Lou, for the breakdown. Yeah, I'll be making a smaller, scaled-down version of the Your Season Is Over video tomorrow to talk about the South Carolina-Virginia Tech game, the Notre Dame-Miami game, and this TCU-North Carolina game. We'll update the We're Back list, talk about best players, best teams, that kind of thing. It won't be anything like the regular Your Season Is Over. There probably won't be like a dramatic, drawn-out intro and all that shit. It'll probably just be the talking. But I got plenty to say about those 2 games yesterday, and then whatever happens here. Yeah, Harbor is a monster. Bama players getting pizza at 2 a.m. I heard that. You never know if that kind of thing is true, though. When I hear stuff like that after a terrible performance, or a lot of times after a coach gets fired or after a player transfers away, all of a sudden you hear all these stories. Oh, nobody liked this guy, or he did this in the locker room or that, and you're like, why didn't we know that ahead of time? So I don't know if I always believe that stuff, but I did hear that they were door dashing at 2 in the morning and whatever. I did hear that. What if Bama gets it figured out UGA week? Nobody is going to be surprised if Alabama beats Georgia. Nobody. There's been plenty of years where Georgia was better than Bama, and Bama still finds a way to beat them. Last year, for example. So no one will be surprised if Bama plays their best game of the year against Georgia and wins. Nobody. Can I at least get my money back if you don't want to pay out the... Of course I'm going to pay out the bet. I pay out all my bets. We want me to do it now while I'm working? What, do you need $25? You need lunch money or something? God damn, dude. Let me stop what I'm doing and pull up my email so I can send you your $25. Holy shit, dude. PayPal.com. All right, where's your email? There it is. Copy email address. Proceed to account overview. Send money. Paste email address. Gunnar A. Send. There you go. Now you can eat tomorrow. Lou, I'm glad you didn't bring up Ryan Williams carrying his stuffed animal into the stadium. That's all I needed to see Saturday morning. Be honest with you, I would have mentioned that yesterday in the Your Season Is Over video if I would have known. I didn't find that out until yesterday afternoon, but there's just some things that it's like, why do you have to make that a part of your football deal? I mean, if you want to cuddle up with a teddy bear at night and go to sleep, I guess you can do that. No one's going to know. Why do you have to make it a part of your football thing where you're walking into the stadium with teddy bears and painted nails? It just, I don't know. Now, if Alabama goes out and wins the game 50-17, nobody gives a shit. The reality is, it's bad to walk into a stadium with a teddy bear, whether you're the best team in the country or the worst. But if you're the best team in the country, let's say Alabama would have won that game by 50 points yesterday, and then I come on here and I make fun of Ryan Williams carrying a teddy bear into the stadium. You and every other Alabama fan would be in my comments section telling me it's no big deal. I'm just jealous because Ryan Williams doesn't play for my team, and who gives a shit if he carries a teddy bear? It doesn't mean anything. But because Alabama lost, now even the Alabama fans are saying how retarded it is. And it is. Like, you don't need to be doing... If y'all seen Shedeur Sanders walk into an NFL stadium, he has this giant fucking, like, skiff, like this thing that you chop wheat fields. And I'm like, what? Why are you carrying that into the stadium? Like, there's no wheat to cut down inside Cleveland. Like, I just don't know why these people have to do this extra shit. But at least the skiff thing that Shedeur Sanders carries in, like, at least that's a weapon. Like, you know, the guy's literally showing up at the game with a fucking weapon. So I might think that's stupid, and I do think that's stupid, but it's not a fucking teddy bear. I don't know. Which college football team do you think is most likely to go 12-0 this season? None of them. I didn't pick anybody to go 12-0 this year. Now, last year, I got lucky. I nailed it. The only team I picked to go 12-0 last year was Oregon, and they ended up being the only team last year that went 12-0. But this year, I didn't pick anybody to go 12-0. And I'm talking about the Power Four, by the way. I don't give a shit about the G5, whether they go 12-0 or 11-1, none of that matters because they're getting their ass beat in the playoffs anyway. Bama is to Georgia as Michigan is to Ohio State. Yeah. I mean, Ohio State has been the better team than Michigan several times over the last 4 or 5 years, but all that matters is who wins the game, and Michigan beats them. It's the same thing with Georgia and with Georgia and Bama. Georgia goes on the road to Alabama last year, and it's 30-0 in the second quarter. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? It ended up being close in the second half, but that game was over halfway through the second quarter. Bama beat the shit out of Georgia. The following week, Bama goes and loses to Vanderbilt, and Georgia ends up winning the SEC. So it's just one of those things where Bama's just got Georgia's number for whatever reason, and Michigan's got Ohio State's number for whatever reason. So, you know, I don't know. Georgia gets them at home this year. Maybe that'll make a difference. I mean, the last time Georgia played Alabama at home, they got blown out, you know, in 2015, Mark Richt's last year. Bama played in Athens. And it was similar to last year's game in Tuscaloosa. That game was 28-0 in the first half. It pouring down rain. And Bama came in there and beat the absolute soul out of Georgia. You know, Georgia's obviously a different team now than they were in 2015, and so is Bama. But, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I don't think anybody will be surprised if Bama shows up in Athens, plays their best game of the year, and wins. It definitely won't surprise me. I picked Bama to win that game in my preseason predictions. I'll probably end up changing my pick now that we see how bad Alabama is. But you know, when I do my preseason predictions like in June and July, and then during the week, every week now during the week, usually like on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I do weekly predictions for that week's games. And obviously, sometimes I change my prediction during the season versus what I had in the off season, right? Because you start to see the teams play, you realize you were way wrong about certain teams, one way or the other. They're either way better than you thought, way worse than you thought, whatever. Maybe half their team got hurt, whatever. I mean, you never know. So sometimes you have to change your predictions during the season, week to week, versus what your preseason predictions were. But I have no idea what I'll do when that game comes around. But I did pick Bama to win in the preseason. I love Florida's easily carrying a Chucky doll to the game. I didn't see that. But see, this is my point. Justin is a Florida fan. Nothing against you, Justin. So Justin's a Florida fan. Florida fans are excited. They beat Epstein Island 50-0. So Justin doesn't care that one of their players carried a doll into the stadium. Now, if Florida would have went out and laid an egg like Alabama did, Justin and the rest of the Florida fans would be shitting all over easily for carrying a fucking doll into the stadium. So it's all relative based on whether the team plays good or not. If the team plays good, the fans will put up with almost anything. If the team plays bad, then they'll complain about everything. That's human nature. So I'm not picking on Justin, or that's just, we all would do the same thing. We'd all do the same thing. It's based on how the team plays. But I think it's just as stupid to carry a Chucky doll as it is whatever stuffed animal Ryan Williams carried in. You don't need that. It's retarded. But because DJ Lagway had 120 yards passing and Florida beat Epstein Island 50-0, then they love the fact that one of their players carried a doll into the stadium. Banjo, thank you for the super chat. He says, good morning, Lou. What a great weekend it's been. Lou streaming 1,000 hours this week was the icing on top of week one. Go Dogs, and point and laugh at Bama. Yeah, this is always the week one is always rough on Uncle Lou's legs, because I spend untold hours from Thursday till tonight, standing right here. 5 straight days of football. I'm not complaining. I love football. I've loved watching these games. I love live streaming and hanging out with y'all and talking football and reacting to the games with y'all. I love doing it. But doing it 5 days in a row at my age, my legs start to hate me after a while. No doubt about it. Am I doing the lunch money show today? What do you think? You think I'm doing the lunch money show today, or do you think I'm streaming the North Carolina TCU game? Or was that a rhetorical question? Ooh, tiptoed the sideline and made the catch. Gain of about 12 yards there out across the 40 to the 44. TCU with a 3-point lead, 10-7. North Carolina went right down the field on the first possession and made it look easy. But boy, they've struggled since then. And TCU is starting to pick it up here. Back to throw. Zipped it over the receiver's head that time. He was open on a little slant route. A little too much elbow grease on that throw. Incomplete, 2nd and 10 coming up now. Tennessee going to be better than Georgia this season, not going to lie. Well, you say that every year. Yeah, Tennessee fans do this to themselves every year. They hype themselves up. I mean, last year they beat NC State 50-0 and whatever other group of 5 team 50-0, and Nico was winning the Heisman and they were going 1-0, and then they played Georgia and couldn't get a first down. So it'll probably be a similar result this year. Josh Heupel can't beat Kirby Smart for whatever reason. Never mind beating him. He can't even get first downs against him. I mean, the games haven't even been close between Georgia and Tennessee. Why do you hate Kurt Signetti so much? Same reason everybody else does. Never putting stock into Tennessee again. Don't do it unless you want to lose bread. 3rd and 9 now for TCU. Maybe North Carolina's defense can come up with a stop here. Back to throw. All day in the pocket. Now runs out to his left. Chunks it downfield. What a catch. And he got his feet down. Holy shit. Acrobatic catch on the sideline to keep the drive alive. Wow. I mean, if you're a DB, what else can you do? I mean, you can't cover these guys forever. That was just a great catch. On the ground on 1st down now. Looking for room off left tackle, dives forward for about 4 yards. Coming up on 8 minutes to go in the first half. 10-7 your score. TCU up over North Carolina. And TCU is driving. Yeah, that number 7's had a couple of good catches. Shotgun again for TCU now on 2nd and 7. 2 wide at the top, 1 at the bottom. And a running back. Snap. Hands it off, looking for a hole. Fights forward for 3 or 4 yards. 3rd and short coming up now for TCU. So another chance for North Carolina to make a stop. Let's see if they can do it. Tennessee might beat Bama by 100. Maybe. I mean, Tennessee has a hard time winning on the road, even against bad teams. They got to play in Tuscaloosa this year, so we'll see. I obviously think Tennessee has a better chance of beating Bama now than I did a week ago before we all saw Bama shit to bed. Who did I pick Tennessee? I had Tennessee losing to Georgia, Bama, Oklahoma, and one other team. Who else did I have Tennessee losing to in my preseason prediction? Because I had Tennessee at 8-4 with losses to Georgia, Bama, Oklahoma, and I can't remember the fourth team I had them losing to. TCU QB running for his life now gets rid of it, caught, back to the line of scrimmage, and then out of bounds after maybe a 1 or a 2 yard gain. Florida, that's right, Florida. Yeah, so I've got Tennessee losing road games to Bama and Florida and losing home games to Georgia and Oklahoma. The Bama game looks a little more winnable now than it did, but we'll see. I had Tennessee at 9-3. I'm pretty sure I had them at 8-4. I'm pretty sure I had them at 8-4. Let me pull it up and see. Yeah, 8-4. Losses to Georgia, Bama, Oklahoma, and Florida. Uh-oh, North Carolina with an interception. North Carolina just intercepted TCU, so that's going to squash that scoring drive, which is great for y'all's under bet. Prevents some points there. They would have at least got a field goal out of that drive, most likely. Instead, it's going to be a tipped ball and a turnover. And North Carolina is going to take possession here. Falls beat a lacrosse school and it's like pissing on an ant bed. Not sure what that even means. It sounds funny though. Lou, look it up. Tennessee can't beat Arkansas. Well, they lost to them last year, but that was on the road, and they have a hard time winning on the road. Arkansas at home, I did pick Tennessee to win that one at home. But yeah, they lost on the road at Arkansas last year. Bad loss. Will DeBoer get fired? No. His buyout is $77 million. He's not getting fired. He'll be the coach every game this year and every game next year. He's not getting fired anytime soon. 3 Power 4 coaches got fired last year. That's it. Because these schools know revenue share is coming. They knew it was coming. It's here now. Only 3 coaches got fired last year. And the highest buyout amongst those 3 coaches was $9 million. These days of these schools paying 40, 50, 60, $70 million buyouts, that's over. Those days are over. Lou, will Napier get cut this year? It would have to be a really bad year. But if they don't make a bowl game, then I think Florida could potentially fire Napier. But I've got Florida at 7-5. And if they go 7-5, I don't think they'll fire him because they went 7-5 last year and they celebrated. CBS News broke a story that a player lied to the NCAA about the sign stealing scandal and transferred to Ohio State, and this player played for Ohio State during the championship run, making him ineligible. Yeah, I'm sure something big is going to happen about that. Florida should never fire a mastermind like Napier. I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. Glasses, Lou. Yeah, my eyes were bothering me today, so I took my contacts out. Ironic when everyone started to pay players, Bama can't win. Yep, well, or maybe when they lost the greatest coach of all time, Bama can't win. Lou, wheat bread sucks. I disagree. I actually like wheat bread better than white bread. I've always preferred wheat bread. Do you think Brian Kelly will win a natty at LSU? No. Well, this year you're talking about, right? This year? No. Ever? Maybe. I mean, their last three coaches have won natties, but I don't think it'll be this year, no. I know we got one game left, but I think week one was actually incredible. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I agree. Amazing games. I mean, you can't ask for much better than what we got this year in week one. You really can't. Thanks for the stream, Lou. Hashtag subscribe to YouTube. Yeah, make sure you're subscribed if you're not. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. We stream a bunch of games during the season. Upload videos every day of the week. We have a really good time here. So if you're new, welcome to the channel, and make sure you hit that subscribe button. And y'all hit the thumbs up, too. That's a big help. Make sure you're hitting the thumbs up. All right, 2nd and 6 for North Carolina. Keep it on the ground. Short gain. 2 yards maybe. 3rd and about 4. I don't know what happened to those chunk plays North Carolina was getting on the first drive. I mean, every time on that first drive, every time they ran the ball, it was 8 or 9 yards. Every time they threw the ball, it's 20 yards. But since then, boy, they are really struggling to get yards here. I don't know if TCU switched something up defensively or what's going on here, but this looks like two totally different teams. North Carolina's first drive of the game versus everything else since then. Coming up on 4 minutes to go in the first half. 10-7 is the score. 3-point lead for TCU. 3rd and 4 for the Tar Heels on their own 25. Snap. Back to throw. Looks left. Throws left. Intercepted. That's a pick 6. Great for TCU. Bad for the comment section. Bet the under. You don't want to see defensive touchdowns when you bet the under, but TCU intercepted that on an out route. It was a late throw and good coverage, and he didn't put nearly enough on the ball, and that was an easy interception for the TCU defensive back, and he walks untouched into the end zone. There is a flag down. I don't know. This may be some kind of celebration penalty. That's going to make it 16-7. UNC O-line is trash this time, my 8:45. Yeah, I mean, the first drive, they were picking up 8, 9 yards every time they ran the ball, but since then, TCU has completely shut them down. Yeah, they're going to get TCU with a celebration penalty here, but I don't know that TCU really cares, to be honest. One legendary coach we had was the washed-up version of Steve Spurrier, so you're probably right. What is this dollar store to chain? I guess Belichick's girlfriend going to quit him now that his team sucks. What are you doing? Playing dead? You want a belly rub or something? Rolling over and playing dead down here? You want me to come down here and scratch your belly? You want me to come down here and be scratching on your belly? Okay, I'll scratch your belly too. Oh yeah, I'll give you all your belly rubbers. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Texas and Ohio State play week 2 next year in Austin. Yeah, that was a home-and-home series, so they'll play again next year. Extra point is good. 17-7. All right, they're going to go to a commercial break here, and I got to pee, so I'll be right back. $3:57 to go in the first half. 10-point game. TCU 17, North Carolina 7. Jabraylin Van Zant, thank you for the super chat. He says some of these teams across the NCAA might need to hire Uncle Lou to get into their players and coaching staff backsides, acting tough on social. Well, I don't know if they can afford me. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Thomas Wilson says, fun fact, Lou, Bill Belichick is under 500 at New England without Tom Brady. North Carolina's going to return to kick out to the 35. Pretty good field position thanks to that penalty on TCU for excessive celebration. Carson Beck better than Aaron Murray? Nah. I'd take Aaron Murray over Carson Beck. Lou, when are you replacing Feinbaum? Never. I don't have time. I don't have time for that. UNC QB locked on his target. Dummy. Yeah, you throw those out routes, you got to throw them on time and with a lot of heat, and he didn't either. 1st and 10 now for North Carolina. Handoff. Again, not much room, maybe 2 yards, and it's going to be 2nd and 8 now. Can UNC score more than Bill's girlfriend's age? Well, I hope not. I hope not, because we did a poll at the start of the show, over or under total points, and the comment section wanted under, so I put a bet in on the under. Was it 50 or 55? I think it was 55. Let's see. Yeah, under 55 points. So the less points, the better for that. Here's a good play on the ground. Good for a first down, close to midfield, around the 47 or 48. That's the best play they've had since their opening drive right there. CCM28, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says there should be a betting line for if Belichick resigns before the end of the season, given Spurrier's last season vibes. Yeah, and you know, he hired his kid as defensive coordinator, so the conspiracy is that he only took the job so that he could then hand it over to his son at some point. I'd be surprised if that happened this year. I think he'll stay there for at least a couple of years. Handoff, North Carolina across midfield to the TCU 49, gain of about 3. 2nd down coming up now. 2:20 to go. The clock will stop at the 2-minute warning, and each team still has 3 timeouts. Texas do have offense. We had to face a tough Ohio State team. I don't have any doubts about the Texas offense or the Ohio State offense, even though both were terrible this past Saturday. There's too much talent on those offenses. I think it was a combination of first game jitters, conservative game plans, and poor quarterback play. But I don't have a, I think both those offenses are going to be fine. I mean, you got to remember, Texas outgained Ohio State. They got down inside the 10 twice. They got inside the 20 another time. So they had 3 trips into the red zone where they came away with no points. You just can't win big games that way. But they moved the ball at times. Like I said, 2 trips inside the 10 that resulted in 0 points. It's not going to win that way. Hey Lou, just joining, busy day, so UNC is bad. I like the top 25. They looked good the first drive of the game. North Carolina got the ball to start the game, and it went right down the field and scored. I mean, 8-yard run, 9-yard run, 25-yard pass, 30-yard pass, 9-yard run, touchdown. But since then, they've struggled to even get a first down. Lou, I've been watching since 2019. Good stuff. Hey, I appreciate that, Jenny freaking Kim. I appreciate that. I know it's not easy to hang around here sometimes, especially, when your team loses, and because of the nature of this channel, we sort of, we talk more about the losing team around here than the winning team. It's just, there's a million other YouTube channels that do the winning thing. And it can be hard when your team is losing or your team is bad to stick around here. So I always appreciate whenever people have stuck around for a long time. DeBoer should consider updating his resume. Well, unless he quits, he doesn't need to update his resume. He's not getting fired. Whereas Monk, she was right here. I was rubbing her belly a minute ago, and then when I went to the bathroom and came back in here, she was gone. So I don't know where she's at now. Burgle's over here in a chair, though. You can barely see her, but Burgle's over there in a chair. Monk was in here a minute ago. She just left. Yeah, I'll have part 2 of your seasons over tomorrow. It'll be a super scaled down version. You know, probably won't be a big drawn out dramatic intro like normal, but I will upload a video talking about the 3 games, the 2 yesterday and the 1 today. Yeah, that'll probably be out sometime tomorrow afternoon. I'd like to see Georgia use a new design on the helmet. I don't know about that. Now, I don't mind the black uniforms. I wish they would do the black uniforms once a year. But I don't know about changing the design of the helmet. As a Texas fan, Sark needs to learn to take fucking field goals. To me, it didn't help Arks to always go on those drives and get nothing. Add Brian Kelly to that list, too. That numbnut does that all the time. He's lucky they won that game against Clemson, or else he would have been getting clowned again for not kicking field goals in low-scoring, close games. But LSU has lost multiple games under Brian Kelly, close, low-scoring games, because Brian Kelly gets down there and refuses to kick field goals. As a Texas fan, we read that. I wish Georgia would bring those 2020 red pants back for at least one road game. Quarterback scramble on 2nd and 7, picks up about 3. Under 2 minutes to go now, 1:45, and the clock is ticking. North Carolina looking at a 3rd down here around the TCU 40. They're down 10, 17-7. Bill Belichick's debut here as head coach for the Tar Heels. Gio Lopez, the quarterback, a transfer from, I think, South Alabama. But North Carolina's entire team almost is transfers. I think they have 50 or 60 new players on the team. 3rd and 3, and they are on the TCU 46. Empty backfield and 5 wide for Gio Lopez this time. Shotgun, snap, back to throw. Poor snap, but he gets it, goes deep. Great coverage downfield, and the pass falls incomplete. 4th and 3. Let's see what they do here. 1:05 on the clock, and they're on the TCU 46. What do you think? Punt it? Go for it? What do you do here? Bill Belichick's an NFL guy, probably going to punt it. Is Georgia and Gamecocks going to play next year? The SEC schedule has not been released for next year, so have no idea. Usually gets released in October, so we'll find out in the next couple of months. Jolie says, Beck's post-game interview, you could tell he was just happy to be playing. Injuries and recovery are intense. Hope he balls out. Looked happy. I didn't see his post. Uh-oh. North Carolina muffs the punt, but somehow gets it off. Wow. And it takes a good bounce, too, all the way down to the 20. Boy, North Carolina avoids disaster there. TCU would have taken over in North Carolina territory, but somehow that punter was managed to scoop the ball up and get the punt off. That could have been, or the North Carolina punter. That could have been bad. Yeah, he just dropped it. It went right through his hands. I mean, you got to make that. Boy, he extremely lucky. Extremely lucky. I didn't see Beck's post-game interview, but I mean, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he has a good year, and I think he is. And now, if for some reason Georgia plays Miami, I hope he's terrible and Georgia beats him by 100. But short of that, I hope he has a great year. I don't have any hard feelings towards Beck. Can you go easy on UNLV if they lose, please? They're not losing. Who are they going to lose to? I mean, have you seen their schedule? I mean, Boise State looked like a loss because they got to play there, but Boise State didn't look good at all this weekend, so who knows? But you don't think they're losing to UCLA this week, do you? They're not losing to UCLA. Man, UCLA is dog shit, and their quarterback is a garbage can. UNLV's not losing, man. You don't have to worry about that. UNLV is not going to let that happen. TCU dumps it off. Out of bounds around the 35. Come on, man. You know, UNLV is going to keep winning for you. Don't worry, they're 2-0. Not very many teams can say that. Not very many teams can say that, but UNLV is 2-0. And they play UCLA this week, so they're about to be 3-0 after they beat the soul out of Nico and whatever's left of that Bruins team that Utah destroyed this past weekend. That game's in Vegas, too. TCU on the ground with 35 seconds to go, gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Neither team looks too interested in calling timeouts, or is somebody going to call one now? TCU calls a timeout with 36 seconds to go. I don't really know why TCU is calling timeouts. They're obviously trying to run the clock out. So why they're calling a timeout now, I don't know. Jolie says it's funny because I was like, UCLA could be tough. Oh, never mind. UCLA is actually awful. Yeah, they look really bad. Utah beat the life out of them. Gamecock 7, thank you for the super chat. Good to see you in here. Good win for y'all yesterday. Nick Harbor's amazing, ain't he? Nick Harbor's a problem. UNC has 70 new players. Yeah, almost the whole roster's turned over. Dan Mullen's my favorite comedian. Did you see his post-game interview against Sam Houston? No, I didn't. I saw his post-game interview against Idaho or whatever, and he embarrassed himself. Dan Mullen's a clown. He's a joke. But at UNLV, he'll win a lot of games, but Dan Mullen's a joke. This is the same dumb motherfucker that came to a post-game press conference in a Darth Vader costume one time. First and 10, TCU. They're at their own 49. Play action, pass, complete on a slant, has room, and they are into field goal range, down around the 35. Early thoughts on UGA, Tennessee, week 3. I haven't changed my mind on that one from the preseason. I still think Georgia will get that win. I might change my mind between now and the next 3 weeks when the game is played or whatever, but I haven't seen anything yet that would make me change my mind. 13 seconds to go. TCU with a 10-point lead. They are in field goal range now at the North Carolina 26. 2nd and 3. They've got 2 timeouts left too, so no matter what happens here, they would be able to stop the clock for a field goal if they need to. Back to throw. Over the middle, complete. Down to the 15. 9 seconds to go now. Do you think Tennessee beats Bama in Tuscaloosa? I picked Bama in the preseason. Obviously, didn't know Bama was going to be this bad. I think Tennessee's got a much better chance than I thought they had a week ago, but Tennessee really struggles on the road. So we'll have to see how Bama looks this week, if that was just a one-week thing. It's hard to imagine they can really get it turned around, but so I don't really know which way I'm going on that one yet. Does Vandy beat Bama again? That game's in Tuscaloosa too, so probably not. UJ struggles against Bama. Yeah, I picked Bama to win that game against Georgia. TCU back to throw, 9 seconds. Incomplete down the sideline, 6 seconds to go now. Probably have to kick the field goal here. I feel bad for Louisiana Monroe. Now they have to play a pissed off Bama team. Yeah, I know you're joking. I know you're joking. Cowpoke Ranch, what's up, buddy? Good to see you in here. Says TCU looks pretty good, but since when have we ever expected a school dressed in powder blues to be a hard-nosed football program? Well, North Carolina, no matter what they wear, has never really been a football power. They are not in field goal range. What? Yes, they are. What are you talking about? They're inside the 20. Field goal is up. Field goal is good. 33-yarder. 20-7 is your halftime score. TCU up on North Carolina. Weird half for North Carolina. I mean, they went right down the field their first possession, made it look easy. But after that, they struggled to move the ball bad. And they're down 13 at the half. 20-7, TCU on top of North Carolina. That's a dangerous game for Louisville because James Madison is a good group of 5 team. There are some people picking them to be the playoff team from the group of 5. I picked UNLV, but James Madison is in my list of 4 or 5 group of 5 teams that has a chance to be there at the end. That could become an interesting game. It's at Louisville, so that helps Louisville, but it could get interesting if Louisville overlooks them. Yeah, James Madison. College game day will be in Knoxville for the UGA game. I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, they haven't announced it yet. That's a possibility for sure. I don't know what other games are that day either. I'd have to look and see, but that'll be a big one. Do you think Tennessee can get within 14 points in this year's UGA game? They never have before. Never have before. Georgia will be a 10-point favorite probably in that game. Lou, I just gave you a like. I appreciate that. Of course, you should have done that a while ago, but I do appreciate that. Lane Kiffin to Bama. Well, they can't fire DeBoer, so no. No. DeBoer is the coach of Bama, and he's not going anywhere unless he quits. I mean, he's not getting fired. Joey Aguilar is going to have his best game against Georgia. Heard it here first. Yeah, well, I mean, y'all say this every year. Nico was going to beat Georgia. Hendon Hooker was going to beat Georgia. Joe Milton was going to beat Georgia. I mean, y'all say this every year. Meanwhile, you haven't beat us in 10 years. And you've had, I mean, I don't know how many different quarterbacks, and every one of them is supposed to be winning the Heisman and all that. Y'all do this every year. You'll beat Georgia when you have a complete team that's better than Georgia because you don't have a better coaching staff. So until you get a better team, and having a good quarterback is not the same as having a better team. Florida's probably got a better quarterback than Georgia. I mean, lots of teams have better quarterbacks than Georgia. Takes more than a quarterback to beat Georgia. Yeah, so you're going to have better players because you don't have a better coaching staff. Josh Heupel has been severely outcoached by Kirby Smart in every single matchup. It's been sad to watch how bad Josh Heupel has been outcoached by Kirby. So. If you have a better team, you'll win. If you don't, you'll lose because you're not out coaching them. UJ is hard to beat and always has been. 3 straight 10-win seasons and playoffs last year? Question mark. What are you asking? What? I don't know what you're asking. Early thoughts on Ole Miss, Kentucky this week. Interesting game because as good as Ole Miss was last year, they lost to Kentucky. And Kentucky was terrible. That was Kentucky's only SEC win last year was against Ole Miss. So it's an interesting game because of that. Obviously, I think Ole Miss is the better team, but they were the better team last year. Do you think Kirby's hair is real? Yeah, I've never heard anybody say it's not. UJ -7 on Tennessee right now on ESPN. Better grab that now. Does Texas have a legit chance to beat Georgia? Yeah, Texas is good. Yeah. Texas is one of the most talented teams in the country. A lot of people believe now the stock is up on the ACC. What's your thoughts going forward? Well, the ACC has been waiting 20 years for Miami and Florida State to be good at the same time. Is this the year it finally happens? Maybe. Maybe. That would obviously help the ACC, but one of them has been terrible almost every year ever since Miami joined 20 years ago. It's either been Florida State's been terrible or Miami's been terrible. There hasn't been very many years where they've both been good. And that's hurt the ACC as a whole. Who flops harder this year, Prime or Belichick? Man. You're just talking about which one of those teams is going to have a worse record? I'm going to go with... I don't know. I guess North Carolina will have a worse record. I really don't know. They're both bad. They're both bad. Lou, how happy are you that the Bama dynasty is over? Just as happy as I was 5 years ago when it ended. The Bama dynasty ended 5 years ago. They haven't won a natty since COVID. The only team in the country right now, there is no dynasty right now, but the only team in the country that has any chance to establish a dynasty this year would be Georgia. If Georgia wins a natty this year, then Georgia's a dynasty. They'd have 3 natties in 5 years. That's a dynasty by any definition. There's no other team in the country that could even start a dynasty this year. Ohio State can't have a dynasty. If Ohio State won the natty this year, that would be 2 natties in a row. Are you saying that 2 natties in a row is a dynasty? If you are, then Georgia's a dynasty because they just won 2 natties in a row. I don't think winning 2 natties is a dynasty. I think you need 3 in a 5-year period. I mean, I don't think there's any concrete definition on what a dynasty is, but to me, if you win 3 natties in 5 years, I don't see how anybody could argue that that's not a dynasty. Lou, would you rather see Deion win a natty as coach or have Jake Fromm come back and be Georgia's QB again? Neither one of those things is ever happening, so Deion's not winning a natty and Jake Fromm's not coming back. Neither of those things is ever happening. How long does it take to make a video? Depends on what kind of video it is. Some take longer than others. I like Louisville chances in the ACC. Me too. And, they get Clemson at home on a Friday night coming up in a few weeks. And they beat Clemson last year at Clemson. And these Friday night games are weird. Road teams tend to struggle on these weekday games. Clemson's got to go to Louisville on a Friday night. That's going to be an interesting game. But Louisville's well coached. They've been good the last couple of years. I think they'll be good again this year. Taters go 9-3 with losses to Louisville and the Gamecocks. That would be the same thing that happened last year. Yeah, last year they lost their opening game to an SEC team, Georgia. Then they lost to Louisville during the season, and then they lost to South Carolina at the end of the year. So if what you're saying happens, that would be the exact same thing, except instead of losing to Georgia to start the year, they lost to LSU. Motion for reverse championship between 2 worst Power 4 teams at the end of the season? Oh, you mean you want to take the 2 worst teams and make them play? So like last year it would have been what, Purdue and whoever. Yeah, I don't know how many people would watch that. What are the chances Alabama goes 8-4? It's probably the most likely record. It could be worse, but that's probably the most likely record right now, 8-4. Blue check the cash app. Joey for Heisman. Is that you, Joey for Heisman? Tennessee fans do this every year. It's like clockwork. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the cash app. Bama needs to be moved to the group of 5. Damn, is that true? Come on, man. Come on, man. Move Bama to the group of 5. Who has a better defense, Syracuse or Tennessee? I'm assuming you're going to say Tennessee has a better defense, right? So let me ask you this. If Tennessee has a better defense than Syracuse, and you think Joey Aguilar is winning the Heisman, how did Steve Angeli have more yards against Tennessee than Joey Aguilar had against Syracuse? So shouldn't you be advocating for Steve Angeli to win the Heisman since he put up more numbers against the Tennessee defense than Joey Aguilar put up against the Syracuse defense? Or is that not how it works? I hope Arch can figure it out. In the meantime, send us back to the Big 12. On a more serious note, I'm still proud to be a Longhorn. Hook 'em. I still think Arch will be fine. That was a tough spot to walk into yesterday for his first ever road game. First ever road game against a top 5 opponent, Ohio State, 100,000 people, one of the best defenses in the country. That was a tough spot for him to walk into. I still think he'll be okay. Because our running backs had 250 yards. Yeah, I know, but you know the Heisman is a numbers award. So the Heisman doesn't care that your running backs had 250 yards. They could care. The Heisman is a numbers award. So you can't advocate for Joey Aguilar to be winning the Heisman when he had 240 yards against Syracuse. Everybody that plays Syracuse is going to have 240 yards. Picks to make the SEC championship after watching week 1. I'm not changing my mind after week 1. The only people that should change their mind after week 1 would be anybody that picked Alabama to win the SEC. I didn't pick Alabama to win the SEC, so I'm not changing my mind after week 1. Is UCF better without Gus? I didn't watch any of the UCF games, so I've got no idea. Lagway's winning the Heisman. Yeah, Lagway's winning the Heisman, and Joey Aguilar is winning the Heisman. They're giving away 2 Heismans this year. One to Lagway and one to Aguilar. According to my you want to know what's funny? The people that actually have a chance to win the Heisman, None of their fans are running around talking about how their guy is winning the Heisman. You know why? Because they're on teams that have a chance to win a national title. Tennessee and Florida aren't getting anywhere near a national title. So the best that their fans can hope for is that they have one really good player that gets a statue at the end of the year. You don't see Texas or Ohio State or Georgia or any of these teams that actually have a chance of winning a natty running around talking about their players winning a Heisman because, well, they have a chance to win something much more meaningful. But when you're sort of a middling team like Tennessee or a below average program like Florida, the only two things you have to hope for over the course of a season is one big regular season win and a player to win an award. Beyond that, you've got nothing to look forward to. So you spend all off season and all season telling anybody that'll listen that Nico's winning the Heisman or that DJ Lagway's winning the Heisman or now Joey Aguilar's winning the Heisman. Because you don't have anything else to look forward to. I get it. 10 years ago when Georgia didn't have a chance of winning a natty, I was in love with Jacob Eason, so I get it. But in the last 10 years, Georgia's been a top 5 program, and I could give a fuck less. Hasn't Georgia had like 3 Butkus Award winners? How many times have you heard me mention it? 0? 1? I mean, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. All Georgia's goals occur in the postseason. Tennessee and Florida's goals, they hope to get one big win a year and have a player win an award. Because that's the peak for them, you know? Tennessee beating Alabama, for example. Tennessee can't make an SEC championship game. They damn sure can't win the SEC. They've never won a playoff game. So what do they hope for? One big win a year and a Heisman. That's the best they can do. And Florida's at that point now. Florida's not winning anything. They're not winning the SEC. They're not winning a natty. They're hoping for one big win. They got that last year. They beat LSU and Ole Miss, so they got their big win last year. This year, same thing. They're hoping for one big win and a Heisman. Because there's nothing else beyond that. Heupel runs under a 20-minute mile or Prime makes the playoff. Which happens first? If Heupel tried hard enough, he could run a mile in under 20 minutes eventually. No matter how hard Prime tries, he's not making the playoffs. So I'll take Heupel running the mile on that one. UGA has a defensive player win an award every year, but we don't talk about it. Tennessee's the only team that had to play Georgia and Bama during their prime. Well, that's great, but why were you winning 4 and 5 games? You weren't playing Bama and Georgia 7 times a year. Why were you losing 7 games? That's a piss poor, pitiful excuse. That's a pitiful, piss poor fucking excuse. We sucked. Yes, that's the right answer. It's got nothing to do with playing Georgia and Bama. You just fucking sucked. Still halftime in the game here. Who was the last preseason week 1 Heisman favorite to win? I honestly have no idea. Lou, is this the best time of the year? Well, football season in general, but that's about a 4-month period. But yeah, I mean, football season is my favorite time of year, yeah. I still remember when Georgia beat the shit out of Tennessee 41-0. I still remember that too. All right, let me go refill my water before the second half starts here. All right. How about some boiled peanuts? What the hell? Ah, dang. 75-yard touchdown run. Well, I missed that, didn't I? I had to heat up some peanuts. Boiled peanuts in that. See? You guys don't want your boiled peanuts in that. All right, well, it's going to be 27-7 now. So the route is on. The route is on. Think Ryan Williams will miss the Georgia game. Why? Because of his concussion? The Georgia game, the Alabama game is like three or 4 weeks away. Georgia plays Austin Peay, then they play Tennessee, then they have a bye week, then they play Bama. So that's 4 weeks from now. He'll be back from a concussion in 4 weeks, won't he? How did North Carolina actually get way worse? Well, they hired a coach that doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I mean, college coach is not the same job as NFL coach. One's got nothing to do with the other. I don't understand why North Carolina even hired him. Super chat? Boiled peanuts, spicy or regular? These are regular, but I sometimes make spicy. In fact, I might make spicy this coming weekend. I made a big batch of regular Thursday that I've been eating all weekend. I might do a spicy batch this coming weekend. Paxton says, Lou, I want a black quarterback at Texas with Lamar Jackson type speed. They can find one if Texas chooses to. Why does it matter if he's black? That's weird, dude. That's weird. Hypo runs under a 20-minute mile. We did that one already. You could have just said you want a quarterback with Lamar Jackson type speed, but so if they find a white quarterback that's just like Lamar Jackson, you don't want him? You only want the black one? Boy, if you were a Clemson fan, you'd kill yourself. Something like 70% of Clemson's roster is white. It's a miracle they ever win a game, ain't it? Gio Lopez running for his life, the North Carolina quarterback. Takes a big hit over there on the sideline. Boy, North Carolina has looked bad outside of their first drive of the game. I mean, bad on offense, bad on defense. They have not looked good. UNC is still going to be better than Georgia. I can't tell if are you trolling yourself? UNC is going to be better than Georgia. Holy shit, dude. Five-star dummy. Are you okay, Will Townsend? I'm worried about your mental well-being. Boy, Bill Belichick's girlfriend's going to be pissed off in the post-game press conference, ain't it? First game, Russ needs to be shaked off. He'll still make ACC champion game against Miami. Belichick, greatest coach all time. Don't forget that. Isn't this the first game for TCU too, dummy? Have you considered the possibility that North Carolina's not any fucking good and Bill Belichick doesn't know what he's doing? The greatest coach of all time. He might be the greatest NFL coach of all time. That doesn't have shit to do with college football, dude. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to tell if you're mentally retarded or if you're trolling. But if you truly believe that, you're mentally retarded. Josh Heupel gets an IV of KFC gravy every halftime. IV? A gravy IV. Josh Heupel is a slob, though, for real. He's so sloppy looking. Somebody the other day in the comment section said that Josh Heupel was built like a bagel. A damn bagel. Football is football, dummy. You troll, not me. College football ain't the same as the NFL. If you knew anything at all about college football, you'd know that. But you don't. So you don't. Bill Belichick won't be scrapbooking for a week. Damn. Is Jordan going to cut him off because of this loss? I was quoting Earl Campbell saying Texas will never win another national championship with a non-black quarterback. Oh. Well, yeah, the last one they had, the last natty they won was Vince Young, right? Vince Young was a great college quarterback. He couldn't read or write, but he was a great college quarterback. Lamar Jackson at Louisville, though, was amazing. Because that team wasn't that good he was on. You remember that, y'all remember that Louisville-Clemson game? Lamar Jackson for Louisville, and did Clemson have, was it Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence that was at Clemson when that game was played? Now, he almost, I mean, he put on a show. They paid, you spelled paid wrong. And it should be they are paid. But you say they paid and you spell paid wrong. To play football in both sports, dummy. Yes. That's the first correct thing you've said. All right. TCU's got the ball back again. They're up 20, 27-7. I hope they slow this damn game down. We put a bet in on the under. Pass complete behind the line of scrimmage. Lots of cushion and a huge gain. This is getting bad, y'all. The greatest football coach in the history of history is getting out-coached by whoever the fuck TCU's coach is, according to this guy in the comments section. The greatest college football coach of all time. Because according to this dumbass in the comments section, there's no difference between NFL head coach and college head coach. He thinks it's the same job. That means the greatest coach in the history of history, Bill Belichick, is getting out-coached by whoever the fuck the TCU coach is. Sonny Dykes, who is really nothing more than a high school coach. That's alarming. Isn't it, North Carolina, man? Is Sonny Dykes now the greatest coach ever? Pay trap Lou? What does that mean? Josh Heupel looks like he ate the championship of life. Thank you, Burnett family and King Wayne. Appreciate the super chats. Another big gain on the ground. TCU in the red zone again. There is a flag down, though. There is a flag down. Belichick is best football in history over Saban. Belichick's the best football? How do you judge how good a football is? And why is Bill Belichick the best football? Isn't Bill Belichick a human being? You're saying Bill Belichick is the best football in history? He might be the best NFL coach in history. He's definitely not the best college coach in history. In fact, Bill Belichick is about to have the worst winning percentage in the history of college football. We're 1.5 quarters away from Bill Belichick having the worst winning percentage in the history of college football. Yeah, Miami on the rigged wheel. Yeah, we pay the rigged wheel out every Saturday morning from the Saturday before. I got it written down. I remember you now. I got it written down right here. You want me to send it now? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it in the cash. You said Cash App, didn't you? I see you. Oh, shit. There you go, bud. Thank you, man. Does Bill have more wrinkles at his age, or does Hypo have a higher body fat percentage? I've never counted Bill Belichick's wrinkles, so I'm not sure. How did the pay movement end up last week? I lost $50 last week. This is new team. He will figure out to win soon. Clown. No, he won't. He's not a good college football coach, bud. That's why they're getting humiliated by TCU at home. Josh Heupel puts Duvall in voluminous. Rick Venturi coached Northwestern from 1978 to 1980 with a record of 131-1. Yeah, and he has a higher winning percentage than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick has a 0% winning percentage. North Carolina was and always will be a basketball school. I got bad news for you, bud, but they suck in basketball now, too. They're not good at that either. Look at this. 30-yard touchdown run and nobody touched him. And Bill Belichick's a defensive coach. Bill Belichick's a defensive coach. Wow. Wow. Bill Belichick might be the worst college football coach of all time. This is ugly. UNC was like, we can go to the SEC, and it's like you'd be in the bottom half of basketball in the SEC. Yeah. I was just messing with you, Lou. No, you're good, man. You're good. UNC man is giving me a headache with his spelling. Yeah. He's doing the best he can, given the limitations of his faculties. Nick Koenig said, this is a sad game. I'll catch you later. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, this ain't worth watching here now. This is ugly. Bill Belichick might be the worst college football coach of all time. North Carolina man's going to find that a hard pill to swallow, but looks like the stadium is half empty. I haven't noticed that, but I wouldn't be surprised if they start leaving now. Oh, yeah, they gone already. Look at that. The end zone half empty. Yeah, they probably headed for the exits already. Get the fuck out of here. Worst part of this for Bills, it's the only game. Oh, yeah, everyone's watching it because it's the only game on, yeah. So everybody's seeing how bad of a college coach he is. I'm at the game right now. This is so embarrassing. Wow. Yeah, this is getting ugly, man. This is getting ugly. Bill was a sorry coach for the Browns, and sorry after Brady left, and sorry in college. Damn. Sounds like he just might be sorry all the way around. Gio Lopez running for his life, chunks it downfield. Should have been caught, but it was dropped. North Carolina just can't do anything right. They just can't do anything right. That should have been a catch. Is it more likely that Gunnar Stockton wins the Heisman or flames out like DJ Ukulele? Neither. I don't think neither one of those things is likely to happen. Bill Belichick should have taken notes from Kirk Ferentz about hiring your kid. Yeah, it makes nepotism will ruin you. Gio Lopez under pressure throws, caught that time, good for a first down. North Carolina up to the 45. It's the best play they've had in a while. Best play they've had in a while. Nizzy B says, I spotted the paper plate on the 50-yard line. Damn, are they squatting down? Dang. Taking a giant dump at home in front of 50,000 fans and a national TV audience. Wow. Wow. Bill Belichick's diaper no good. He's oozing out the sides of his diaper, ain't it? Damn. Damn. Jordan Hudson's going to have to go home and put baby powder on his ass. Gio Lopez rolls out, throws to nowhere. This guy might have the weakest arm in all of college football. Arch for Heisman? The Arch for Heisman talk was ridiculous to begin with when the guy had never really played. I know he had a couple of starts, but I mean, I still think Arch Manning will be a good quarterback, but I didn't have him on my Heisman list. Now, to be fair, I'm an idiot and I had Cade Klubnik on my Heisman list, but at least we had seen Cade Klubnik play really good for an entire season. These people, that's why it's not Arch Manning's fault. The hate that Arch Manning is getting, it's not even Arch Manning's fault. Arch Manning's not the one running around constantly telling everybody how good he is and how good he's going to be. It's everybody else. And they just put expectations on, on top of him that nobody could live up to. Butch's last team and Pruitt's last team would beat this North Carolina team by 2 touchdowns. Damn, Hoghead. That's bad. Retired stockbroker. I'm a newbie tonight. I'll be back yeah, right. Hey, man, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah. I stream as many of these games as I can during the season, so hope you'll come back around and hang out, man. I hope you had a good time. Fumble, scoop, and score. That's the second defensive touchdown. They're going to have to do a running clock. They're going to have to do a running clock like they do when these teams play FCS teams. That's the second defensive touchdown. This is embarrassing. Only 2 things come from Tuscaloosa now. Binkies and teddy bears. Yeah, that's sad. It's sad. Stands emptying out now. Wow. This is bad. This is bad. TCU's beating North Carolina like UGA beat TCU, yeah. What was the final score of that one? 65-7 or something? TCU ranked. They're not ranked now. They might be tomorrow. The polls update tomorrow. The AP and the coaches poll come out tomorrow. The over-under was 55. That's not going to, it's going to go way over. TCU's going to get 55 on their own. I wonder if Bill regrets taking the North Carolina job now. I don't know. Those paychecks cash whether you win or lose, so I don't know. I don't know. The worst part is, wait till you find out what they're paying him. Aren't they paying him $10 million a year? They made him like a top 5 paid coach. They're paying him $10, $11 million a year for this. They're paying $10 million a year for this shit. Burgle's winning the Heisman. She was in here. She's gone now. Burgle's winning the Heisman. All right, let me go throw these peanuts away. This is just sad to watch at this point, says Jolish. Yeah, this is bad. I mean, this, like, I know people wanted to see North Carolina lose because of the Bill Belichick, Jordan Hudson mess, whatever that is. So they were just waiting on Bill Belichick to lose. But when it's this bad, it's like, it's not even fun to keep rooting against him at this point. You know, it's so bad. RC, thank you for the super chat. He says, you're the man, Lou, every season. Thank you. No, thank you, RC. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me watching these games, man. I have a good time watching these games with y'all. I know sometimes we talk some trash, or y'all troll me, or I troll y'all, or whatever it is, but I have a great time hanging out with y'all watching these games. I really do. Is his girlfriend coaching the game? She couldn't do any worse, could she, Sean? I don't think that girl could do any worse than he's doing. They won't be ranked in the Lou 2 poll unless one of them wins by 50. Yeah, but the problem is I already did my ranking today, so I'll have to wait till next week to rank TCU. I want your opinion watching this game. Do you think that Clemson... What? Hold on. Do you think that Clemson bought fool's gold in Garrett Riley, and what was good at TCU was Sonny Dykes? No, I think Garrett Riley's a good offensive coordinator. I mean, look, LSU's probably got a top 5 defense. That was part of the problem. Now, I'm not totally excusing Cade Klubnik, though, either. The guy's a third-year starter. He's been at Clemson for 4 or 5 years, and he's a third-year starter now. And they've got NFL wide receivers. The offensive line was terrible, but Cage got to make plays and find a way to sort of work around that at his stage. So I'm not excusing him either, but that LSU defense was legit. I mean, it's like the Texas-Ohio State game. What the final score was, 14-7? How many points do you think those two teams are going to average per game this year? 40? Like, those two teams are going to score a ton of fucking points, Texas and Ohio State. It's just that both those defenses were really good. Same thing with LSU Clemson, by the way. Those are two NFL defenses. LSU and Clemson are going to score a lot of points. You know, early season jitters, first game of the year, conservative game plans, and NFL defenses is what limited scoring in those things. I trust another turnover. They put another quarterback in and he immediately turned it over. They changed quarterbacks and he immediately comes out and North Carolina turns it over. Wasn't the quarterback's fault. Guy didn't catch the ball. That looks like a forward pass to me. They're going to overturn that. That looks like a forward pass. I think they're going to overturn that. They ruled it a lateral, but I think that was a forward pass. 1.1K, not bad for Monday. I actually feel bad for Bill. What is 1.1? Is there that many people watching this for real? I appreciate y'all watching. I didn't know there was that many people watching. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me and watching. Make sure you hit the thumbs up while you're here. And subscribe to the channel if you're new or for some reason you're not subscribed. I stream as many of these games as I can during the season. I even upload pointless, barely watchable college football videos year-round. Year-round. So if you're new, subscribe. Trying to get to 75,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm pretty sure we can do it. With your help. And all I need you to do is hit that subscribe button. It's free. It is free. Thank you, Colton. Thank you, Peyton Clark. Says at this point, Carolina should just kneel down the rest of the game. But at this point, who knows if they can even do that right. Yeah, but might not be able to do that right. I mean, this is hard to believe, y'all. There is 6 minutes left still in the third quarter. In the third quarter. This is bad. Leave your feelings off the internet watching Lou. Yeah, we get a little wild here sometimes. Hard to get wild in this one. It's a blowout, but we get a little carried away here sometimes, not going to lie. Shout out to Sleeper, too. Make sure y'all download the Sleeper app. They've been good enough to sponsor these live streams this year. So download the Sleeper app. I'm in Georgia. Sleeper is good to go in Georgia and over 30 other states. Daily Fantasy. It's the best daily fantasy app out there. Make sure y'all check it out. You can use promo code Lou when you download the app. There's a link in the description of the video, or just go to the Play Store on your phone. Download the Sleeper app. Enter the promo code Lou, L-O-U, and they're going to give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. And it makes watching these games a lot more fun. Like even a blowout like this, if you had a sleeper pick on it, you know, like some receiver for TCU to go over so many yards or a quarterback to go over so many yards, it makes even these blowouts worth watching. It just, I don't know, it makes the games more interesting to me. So check out the Sleeper app. You'll be glad you did. Use that promo code Lou, L-O-U. And again, shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring these streams this year. Oh, there's a big play from North Carolina. Finally give the fans something to cheer about, the 12 or 13 of them that are still there. If any more fans leave this game, it's going to look like a UCLA game. Did y'all see the UCLA-Utah game Saturday night? It came on super late. It didn't come on till 11 o'clock at night. Holy shit. You could literally count the number of people in the stands there. It was bad. It was real bad. I left when it was 7-10. What happened? Everything that could go wrong for North Carolina has. TCU has scored 2 defensive touchdowns, chunk plays on offense, and North Carolina has struggled to get a first down outside of their first possession of the game. This is by far the best drive they've had since the first possession of the game. Oh, it's a betting app? Well, you're not betting on the game. You're picking players and whether or not they go over or under an expected stat line. So, for example, in this game, Gio Lopez was the quarterback for North Carolina. You're picking whether he has more or less than a certain number of passing yards or more or less than a certain number of touchdowns. Daily fantasy. So you're not betting on the outcome of the game. You're just picking player stats. Hey, Lou, how are you, buddy? Belichick is one and done, game and done. God, he's terrible. Hot diarrhea. Yeah, this has been a terrible debut, to say the least, for Bill Belichick. UNC still has a chance they will win by 2, says some retarded person in the comment section with access to his mom's credit card for a $10 super chat. John Waffle, I love you, buddy, and I know you're an ACC guy, but no, North Carolina's not going to win by 2. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if you're trolling or what you're doing there, but don't get yourself in no trouble with that credit card, dude. It's not worth it. Who's worse, college football Belichick or NFL Urban Meyer? Well, we might have to withhold judgment on that for the entirety of this season, but Urban Meyer was pretty bad at Jacksonville. He was pretty bad. Greg, I missed your super chat a few minutes ago. I'm just now seeing it. I apologize. He said, the way Florida's defense looked by shutting out Long Island University reminded me of the '85 Bears. Now, I know you're trolling. I know you're trolling there. Florida probably has a good defense, but you're trolling there. You have to be trolling. You have to be trolling. Yeah, you have to be trolling. Could Brady join UNC as what? A coach? I mean, he could. Why would he want to, though? It would be a question. Why would he want to? I mean, he can't play, obviously. Mr. DJ David, what's up, buddy? Good to see you in here. What'd you think about Dante Moore? I'm going to admit I didn't watch much of that Oregon game for obvious reasons. What's the what are Oregon fans saying or thinking about Dante Moore in that game? What's up, Slim? Congrats to your Canes on a big win yesterday, buddy. H Post, what's up, my man? He says the media can go stick it with the arch glaze. I never liked it, and Feinbaum should be fired. Feinbaum's an idiot. I mean, I appreciate like his call-in show for what it is. You know, he became famous by saying you're on the air, and then just finding the craziest group of callers that has ever existed anywhere. And I think he's great in that role. The problem is, once he joined ESPN and the SEC network, they force him to do all these other spots on all these other shows where they're asking him his opinion on college football. And his opinion on college football is terrible because that's not who he is. He's a radio guy who became famous. I've been listening to Paul Feinbaum since he had a local show in Alabama. He started on a local AM station in the middle of nowhere, Alabama. And all these callers that you see on the SEC network on the Feinbaum show, they've been calling him for 25 years. And he did that for a long time. And then when satellite radio became big, his show got picked up by satellite radio. And that's when sort of the rest of the country found out about the Paul Feinbaum show. And when the SEC network launched back in 2014, I think it was, 2013, 2014, whatever it was, they hired him and started televising his radio show. So like the show that you see on TV, He's been doing that show on the radio for 30 years, and these callers that you see on TV, they've been calling him for 30 years. And he's great at that. That was great. But ESPN has a bad habit of taking people that are good at something and then forcing them to do something else. Stephen A. Smith is another example of this. I'm not a basketball guy. I don't know shit about the NBA, and I don't pretend to. But Stephen A. Smith is an NBA guy. Like, you might disagree with his NBA opinions, but he's knowledgeable about the NBA. Some of his takes may be wrong about the NBA. I don't know. I'm not an NBA guy. But that's his lane, NBA. But what does ESPN do? They hire him to talk basketball, but then they turn him into a talk about everything guy. So now they got Stephen A. Smith giving opinions on college football, on the NFL, on everything else. He doesn't know shit about college football, Stephen A. Smith. When you hear Stephen A. Smith start talking about college football, you should just tune the fuck out. NBA, that's different. He knows his stuff there, I guess. But ESPN does that. They take these people who are knowledgeable about one thing or good at one thing, but then they make them do a whole bunch of other shit. It would be like if ESPN hired me and made me talk about the NBA. I might be entertaining talking about college football, but I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to the NBA. It would be a waste of time to make me talk about the NBA. And that's what they're doing with Feinbaum. He's on SportsCenter and every other show on ESPN, and they're asking him his opinions on college football, and they're ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. Does Bama miss Coach Moore yet? Yeah, they need Malachi Moore back bad. We were talking about that earlier. They need him back bad. Real bad. Thank you, Bryce. We were set up to fail by the media. Well, Texas is going to be fine. I mean, they got inside the 10-yard line twice and didn't score. Of course they lost. You don't deserve to win when you do that. But I mean, they outgained Ohio State. It's not like Ohio State lit it up. I mean, it was a defensive game, and Ohio State made one more play than Texas did. Texas squandered 2 golden opportunities inside the 10-yard line. They didn't deserve to win the game, but Texas will be fine, and so will Ohio State. Texas and Ohio State both are going to score 30, 40 points a game this year. What do you think of Pat McAfee? I knew Pat McAfee's name before he got the job at ESPN, but I never listened to his show. I would see clips of his show sometimes posted on Twitter or TikTok or something, but I never listened to the Pat McAfee show. And I think he's another example of ESPN trying to, to me, Pat McAfee's an NFL guy. Now, with that being said, I like him on College Game Day. I think he fits, his personality fits with what they try to do on College Game Day, which is make it like a fun, kind of a party, not too serious atmosphere. So I actually like him on College Game Day. But I don't listen to his show or anything during the week. Not because I don't like him, just for whatever reason, I just don't listen to his show. But I do like him on College Game Day. And with Lee Corso leaving, they needed, I think, somebody like him to sort of come in, like I don't want to use the word clown because that sounds like I'm putting him down, but he's like the comedic relief on there now, in the same way that kind of Lee Corso used to be. So I actually like Pat McAfee's personality and sort of the shtick that he has on Game Day, on College Game Day. What about Colin Cowherd? Colin Cowherd's another one that ain't got no business talking about college football. None. Zero. He's an NFL guy. Colin Cowherd said in 2012 that Gus Malzahn would never lose another game to Nick Saban. And I quit listening to him the minute he said that. But he knows absolutely nothing about college football at all. Max Johnson is in the game at QB after he almost had to get his leg amputated after his injury last year. He looks like the better QB. Gio Lopez has a terrible fucking arm. That's the worst thing I've noticed about Gio Lopez. He's got no zip on the ball at all. He underthrew I don't know how many out routes today. One of them turned into a pick six because he underthrew it so bad. I don't think Gio Lopez is an answer at quarterback. He's looked really bad today. If I was in charge of North Carolina and had to make one change, it would be quarterback. He's terrible. That Gio Lopez has been terrible. Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser. I used to, what was the name of that show they did? I used to watch that show on ESPN 15 years ago, back when people still watched ESPN. I'm like a lot of y'all probably. I don't watch anything on quote unquote live TV anymore except sporting events. That's it. Football games, the Super Bowl, shit like that. I used to love Pardon the Interruption, the TV show, 10, 15 years ago, back when people still watched TV. But I don't watch TV anymore outside of sporting events. So I don't even know is that show even still on? I don't even know. But I used to love that show. But we watch Netflix and HBO Max and all that shit. Well, I mean, I have YouTube TV, but literally the only thing I ever watch on it is sports. That's it. Live sports, whether it's football games or whatever it is. Who's worse on the road, Kalen DeBoer or Josh Heupel? Yeah, it's a great question. All of Alabama's losses last year were away from home, at Vandy, at Oklahoma, and neutral site against Michigan. And now they started off the year this year with a loss on the road. There's another stat going around, too, about losses against unranked teams. Nick Saban had 4 losses total against unranked teams in, whatever it was, 150 games. Kalen DeBoer has 4 losses against unranked teams in 15 games. I mean, it's bad. 248. Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember the number. So, yeah. So, it took Saban 248 games to lose to 4 unranked teams. DeBoer has done it in 14 games, right? 13 last year and 1 this year. That's 14 games, and he's got 4 losses to unranked teams. I used to say this about Saban. And it's true for players, too. Now, I think it's more true in the NFL. But where you're at has a lot to do with whether or not you're successful or how successful you are. For example, you could be a decent quarterback, get drafted. But if you're on the wrong team with the wrong fit, the wrong play style or whatever, you might not succeed. Whereas maybe if you were on a different team with a different offensive scheme, you could succeed. And I think coaching can be that way too. Sometimes people just aren't a good fit somewhere. Like I used to say with Saban could leave Alabama and go somewhere else, and there's no guarantee that he would have the same success somewhere else that he had at Bama. There's no guarantee. But Saban was a perfect fit at the perfect time at Alabama. And they went on a run that'll probably never be repeated. DeBoer might be a good coach, and Alabama's not the right place for him. Maybe he doesn't need to be in the SEC. Maybe he needs to go Big 12, ACC. There is no Pac-12 to go back to. Well, there is, but it's not what it used to be. But but I don't know. Kalen DeBoer doesn't seem to be a good fit at Alabama. What do you think of High Top Sports? Oh, I love those guys. They've had me on their show a bunch of times. They always treat me nice. I like those guys. We troll each other back and forth on Twitter sometimes, me and the guys from High Top Sports, but they've always treated me fair. They've always treated me right. I have a bet with the guy. What's his name? Shelton. It's a fight song bet, I think. So, like, whoever wins the Georgia-Florida game. So if Georgia beats Florida, he has to come on my show and sing the Georgia fight song. And if Florida wins, I have to go on his song and sing the Florida fight song. But yeah, I like those guys over there. Well, those bots just won't give up about that NCAA football TV, will they? Well, they can't fire DeBoer. Bama's not firing Kalen DeBoer. They can't. They can't afford it. His buyout is $77 million. They're not paying that. So DeBoer will be the coach all of this year and all of next year. Barstool, I don't really know anything about Barstool. I mean, I know that Dave Portnoy founded Barstool or whatever, but like there's a guy that's on Barstool named Brandon Walker. Do y'all know him? I think he's a Mississippi State fan. I used to see clips of Brandon Walker like on Twitter and TikTok and stuff, and I thought he was hilarious. I never knew he was with Barstool. Never. I just found that out like a couple of months ago that he's actually a Barstool guy. So I don't even really know what Barstool is. Is it a podcast? Is it a website? I really don't even know. I know it's like a big group of people that talk sports in different places, but like I'm not subscribed to anything Barstool or whatever. I just see the clips that float around. Gruden's with Barstool? See, I didn't even know that. Brandon is so funny. Have you seen the video he made? His mom is an Alabama fan, and he has a video now. He goes to his mom's house in the fourth quarter of the Florida State Alabama game and trolls his mom. It's pretty good. Belichick has debased himself so bad that a point he should become the head coach of the Cowboys. Bama doesn't have the Texas A&M money. Well, I don't think Texas A&M would pay that money today. Because of revenue share, the days of paying these big buyouts, I think, are over for these schools. If you look at last season, there was only 3 Power 4 coaches fired at the end of last season. And the highest buyout paid among those 3 coaches was $9 million. The schools have to pay $21 million a year now to the players. I don't think they've got the money to be paying these $60 and $70 million buyouts. And I don't think you're going to see that anymore. I do watch Dean Legge. Yeah, not every video or whatever, but I'm subscribed to that, whatever that channel is they have. I watch them every once in a while. Yeah. Who's the worst SEC head coach? Sam Pittman? Last buyout was $20 million in 2020 for A&M. No, A&M just paid 70 something million to get rid of Jimbo Fisher 2 years ago. Let's be honest, we all love watching the demise of Alabama in real time. It's a long time coming. Yep. A lot of Alabama fans don't know anything other than Alabama being an automatic 10-win team every year. But they're about to find out the hard way how the rest of us college football fans have been feeling. South Carolina had to pay Muschamp $20 million buyout. Yeah, people used to pay 20, 30, 40, 50 million buyouts all the time, but not anymore. I mean, the Muschamp buyout was 5 years ago. Revenue share just started this year. You're not going to see those huge buyouts anymore. The thing about Alabama, where some people not going to point out, is the timing of Nick's retirement. It was so sudden. I feel like that's been pointed out a lot of times, actually. Rankings mean nothing in 2025. Playoffs changed college football for the worse. I disagree about playoffs changing college football for the worse. I couldn't disagree more. Bama might be on the we're back list in a few more years. Well, they're 8 years away from that. I mean, they won the SEC 2 seasons ago. How much was the Jimbo Fisher buyout? It was like 70 or 80 million. Dabo Swinney to Alabama loading in 2030. Dabo will probably be retired by 2030. Do you think Ty Simpson has any chance of being a good quarterback? Seemed like a deer in headlights on Saturday. I mean, I guess there's a chance, but I mean, nothing looked good. It wasn't just Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson was probably the least bad thing about Alabama on Saturday, honestly. Do you think Miami could be a national championship contender this year? I think they can make the playoffs. I don't know if they can beat 4 top 10 teams in a row and win it. It's hard to really know that after just one game, but I mean they look good. There's a 0% chance Kirby Smart would leave Georgia for Alabama. Kirby grew up in Georgia, played at Georgia, had his first coaching job at Georgia, is now the head coach of Georgia. I seriously doubt Kirby Smart will ever coach anywhere other than the University of Georgia. Ryan Williams has a concussion. Yes, he does. Ain't no one gonna agree, but I feel like 8 teams is right for the playoffs in football. Well, you might like black and white TV too, but we're not going backwards. So it's just a waste of time to talk about 4, 6, 8. Oh, that's just a waste of time. We're not going backwards. How far away is Tennessee from being able to reload and produce a solid team yearly? Well, I mean, it depends what you mean by solid team. I mean, I think they're a solid team now. I think they're a solid team that's going to win 8 or 9 games and not make the playoffs. But, I mean, like right now we have a 12-team playoff. I would argue that there are more than 12 solid teams. Now, I guess it depends on what your definition of solid is. But as an example, I think last year Ole Miss was a solid team. They didn't make the playoffs. I think South Carolina was a solid team. They didn't make the playoffs. I think Illinois was a solid team. They didn't make the playoffs. So, I mean, I think Tennessee is a solid team now. I think Tennessee is way past the point where their down years are 5 wins. You know? Like, if you look at Butch Jones, when he had a veteran roster and some really good players, he won 9 games. And then 4 wins, 5 wins, whatever it was. I don't think that's happening with Heupel. I think a down year for Tennessee now would be 8-4. North Carolina turned the ball over again. They can't even hand the ball off. I mean, that's just a simple handoff. This is really bad, y'all. This game is so bad. Alabama players are sitting around watching this game going, man, North Carolina's bad. North Carolina might be worse than Alabama. Corn Dog Express, thank you for the super chat. He says, Max Johnson career highlight was the infamous LSU Florida Shoegate game. Yeah, that was a weird game. Foggy, rainy, wet. The shoe gets thrown. The field goal at the end. That was a wild game. That was a wild game. Greg, thank you for the super chat. He says, I think it's fair to say after the FSU loss that Alabama isn't the team to beat in the SEC anymore. I think that title now belongs to Georgia. Well, yeah. I mean, Georgia's won 2 national titles since the last time Alabama won one. Georgia's the defending SEC champion. I think it's pretty clear right now that Georgia is the #1 program in the SEC. Now, I can't say that because people know I'm a Georgia fan, and so anything positive that I say about Georgia, people go, well, of course you say that, you're a Georgia homer. But I've been doing this for 11 years. How many times have I picked Georgia to win the SEC? 3 times in 11 years. How many times has Georgia won the SEC? 2017, 2022, 2024, 3 times. So it's not like I picked Georgia to win the SEC and the Natty every year. I didn't pick Georgia to win the Natty this year. I picked Georgia to make the playoffs, but I picked Penn State to win the Natty. I hope I'm wrong and Georgia wins. I'm a Georgia fan, but I don't just blindly pick Georgia. I mean, I've got Georgia going 10-2 with losses to Auburn and Alabama. That was my preseason prediction. H-Post, thank you for the super chat. He says, I'm a 5-star dummy. I wanted Texas to fire Mac Brown. Add UNC to that list as well. Both of us suffered from that karma. Well, I do think that North Carolina needed to fire Mac Brown. I agree with the decision to move on from Mac Brown. I just think it's dumb to fire an 80-year-old coach and then hire an 80-year-old coach that's never coached college football. Bill Belichick hasn't had any involvement in college football since the early 70s. The early 70s. Some teams weren't even integrated the last time Bill Belichick had anything to do with college football. It just was a terrible hire. It was a terrible hire. It's like Arizona State hiring Herm Edwards. You know, that was a disaster, and this will be a disaster. Bill Belichick looks pretty mad about it. He's going to have to cut the sleeves even shorter on that hoodie, ain't he? TCU with the ball up 41-14. On the ground, huge gain across the 40 to the 41. Gain of about 20. The only reason UNC hired him was because they couldn't find anyone else. They could have found somebody. There's always somebody that wants to be a head coach. They could have found somebody. First and 10, TCU on their own 40. Still 11 minutes to go in this one. 41-14 is the score. Another big run. Look at this. Look at this. This is sad. Boy, this is sad. Oh, what are you doing under there? I didn't even know you were under there. What you doing? You been hiding under there? Come here. Come here. Oh, come say hi. You want to say hi? This tackling by North Carolina is bad. And Bill Belichick's a defensive coach. Bill Belichick's a defensive coach. This is bad. This is real bad. TCU first and goal on the 1. I'm pretty sure they're going to score here. Oh, no, look at that. North Carolina made a play. Wow, loss of 3. Unbelievable. Watch the Cowboys doc on Netflix. It's interesting. I haven't seen that. I haven't even watched the SEC documentary yet on there. Dudes with cats are always cool. I've always been a dog guy. I was raised, my parents always had dogs. We never had cats. When I moved out, I always had dogs, never cats. And what happened is my daughter had two cats, and they didn't get along at all. And so she asked me if I would take one of them, and I didn't want to do it, but I did. And that was 5 years ago, and I absolutely love this cat. That's the only cat I've ever had. I absolutely love that cat. Your testosterone dropped because I have a cat? No, if my testosterone dropped because I'm fucking old. I'm 47 years old. At this point, I'd be a better head coach than Bill Belichick. And maybe you couldn't do any worse. You couldn't do any worse. There's no greater relationship than that between a man and a pet he originally didn't want. I'm a sucker for animals and pets and all. I'm one of these, I treat pets like members of the family type of thing, I'm one of those people. I'd almost rather you slap me than slap my animal. And we have a dog too. Y'all have seen Burgle. Burgle usually I have a blanket right here. This is the dog's blanket. It stays in this chair. The dog, she was in here earlier. She's out in the living room now. Lou, are you going to stream Ville and JMU Friday night? Probably. I think that's good. That's a sneaky good game. We looked at the schedule of games earlier. Let's do it again now because this game is pointless. But week 2, people owe week 2 an apology. People have been complaining about week 2 since the schedule was released. And I'll admit, nothing holds up to week 1. Week 1 was great, but there are several good games coming up in week 2. Friday night, James Madison at Louisville, and James Madison's a good group of 5 team. They've dumped a ton of money into that football program over the last few years. That could be an interesting game. I think Louisville will win, but that's more interesting than you might think. And then when you get to Saturday, you got some good ones too. Illinois and Duke. These are 9-win teams from last year. Both undefeated so far, 1-0. That could be interesting. At Duke. Baylor and SMU. Baylor had 600 yards against Auburn but lost. SMU made the playoffs last year. This could be a good one. Iowa and Iowa State, in-state rivalry game. Virginia and NC State, ACC conference game. Oklahoma State at Oregon. Oregon should win that one. Oklahoma State was really bad last year. I don't think they'll be that bad this year, but Oregon should win that one. Ole Miss and Kentucky. Kentucky only had one SEC win last year, but it was against Ole Miss, and Ole Miss was good. So revenge game for Ole Miss here, and it's at Kentucky. I think this is the best game of the week. Kansas and Missouri, and no one's talking about it. This is going to be a great game at 3:30 on Saturday. Kansas and Missouri, old rivalry game from the Big 12. It's going to be a great game. Great game. This is a more interesting game to me than Michigan Oklahoma. South Florida and Florida. South Florida beat the soul out of Boise State. But they're stepping up in competition this week, taking on Florida on the road in Gainesville. DJ Lagway probably have to play more than one half in that one. And then you've got the Oklahoma-Michigan game somewhere. Where's it at? Arizona State, Mississippi State at 7:30. Michigan and Oklahoma at 7:30. So you got some games that are worth watching. I'll be right back. All right, let's do this too. Let's update the scroll on the bottom, the list of coaches that don't know what they're doing. I changed it Saturday when Bama lost to nothing but Kalen DeBoer. But let's change that back. Now, we're going to leave Kalen DeBoer on there because he clearly has no fucking clue what he's doing. We're going to put Bill Belichick on here. What other coaches do we need to add to the don't know what they're doing list? Who do we need to add? We got Kalen DeBoer and Bill Belichick. What other coaches do we need to add to the list? Coaches that don't know what they're doing. Dion? Coach Prime don't know what he's doing. Sunbelt Billy? I'm not putting Sark on there. Luke Fickell, we'll put Fickell on there. Luke Fickell, massive disaster at Wisconsin. Dabo, no, come on. We're not putting Dabo. We're not putting Sark. Dave Aranda. Brent Key, come on, man. No. What's the matter with you? No, I took Norvell was on there. I'm taking Norvell off. They beat Bama. I'm taking Norvell off for now. Dan Mullen? Come on, man. Dan Mullen's taking Lou and LV. I'm not putting up with any Lou and LV slander. I'm not putting up with no Lou and LV slander. Joey Aguilar hanging 70 on your poverty defense says the dumbest motherfucker I've ever seen. Thank you for the $2. I wish you would have kept it for mental counseling. Josh Heupel hasn't scored 70 points on Georgia total in his entire career. Tennessee's never scored more than 2 touchdowns against Georgia under Josh Heupel. I can't tell. Who Velcros your shoes for you in the morning? Does your mom do it, or do you have like a home health nurse that comes over, picks you up out of bed, puts your helmet and chin strap on, sticks a wallet in your mouth so you don't chew off your own tongue, and Velcros up your shoes for you? How does that work there, bud? I'm just curious. Or do you live in a group home? You know, it's a good thing that breathing is regulated automatically by your nervous system, or else some of you would have been dead a long time ago. Seven minutes to go in this beatdown. This is like an execution broadcast on live TV here. Bear Bryant? Oh, come on, man. Oh, man, Bear Bryant. Don't kick the Alabama fans while they're down. That wouldn't be right. That Tennessee fan is eligible to bag groceries at Publix, says Andy Kicklighter. Yeah, if you hire that guy, you get a tax write-off just for hiring him. 5-star dummy. He's on the spectrum. He might be the entire thing. He might be the spectrum. Forget being on it. He might be the actual spectrum. Add Chris Kleiman to the list? Damn, I thought he was a good coach. Are you sure? All right. I liked Chris Kleiman. Dang. All right. TCU with the ball again. Another run. Another gain of 5 yards, like clockwork. Yeah, K-State looks terrible. They almost got beat again this past weekend. Oh, you know what I didn't do today? I didn't rearrange the helmets for the new top 25. Let me do that now. I never rearranged the helmets for the new top 25. Let me pull it up. All right, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia. Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia. LSU, Oregon. Miami, Texas, Notre Dame. Well, we got to leave Texas down there because they're on the shit list. Texas, Notre Dame, Arizona State, Illinois. South Carolina, Michigan, Iowa State. Michigan, Iowa State. Where the fuck are they hiding at? Where the fuck is Iowa State? Right here. There we go. And then Texas goes there. Add Gundy to the list for hiring Todd Grantham. Let's see how they do against Oregon this week before we add Gundy. Do you still have the You Big Dummy stinger? I do, but I don't have it loaded to play on here. Yeah, I don't have it loaded up to play on here. Take down the Kansas State helmet. Oh, yeah, that's right. So who else is missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's 2. Who's missing? Hold on. Yeah, we got to take down Kansas State. You're right. Who's missing here? Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, LSU, Oregon, Miami, Texas is down there, Notre Dame, Arizona State, Illinois, South Carolina, Michigan, Iowa State. Oh, Louisville. Yeah, Louisville. Louisville. And then 15 is Clemson, but I put whatever my highest ranked group of 5 team is in the 15 spot on the shelf, but really 15 would be Clemson. So we got to put Kansas State. Let's see, they're in the Big 12, aren't they? Yes, Kansas State is in the Big 12 last time I checked. So they'll go right here. There we go. Now that should be right. I've seen all I need to see out of Sark as an OC. Guy has a sustained pattern of poor red zone play calling. Become a real head coach and stop being an OC. You know how I feel about coaches being their own offensive coordinator. I think it's a terrible idea. So even though I think Sark is a good offensive mind, I think if you're a head coach, you should have a separate offensive coordinator. 2-minute warning in the game, so this bloodbath is almost over. Will Muschamp is the mastermind of the UVA defense. Kirby is overrated. Vols by 70. You're an absolute idiot. You are an absolute idiot. Will Muschamp was not even on Georgia's coaching roster last year when we played Tennessee. So, Will Muschamp's been gone for 2 years, and Tennessee still can't get a first down against Georgia. So, you're just mentally retarded. This is a no trolling zone. Yeah, no trolling. Trolling will not be tolerated. Miami has the best O-line in the country. No argument from me. That offensive line for Miami is amazing. Longhorn fans complain Sark didn't run up the middle in the playoffs and now complain that he did. Tennessee's gimmick offense has no potency against UGA. Yep. Tennessee, Georgia, Kirby and Georgia have neutered the Tennessee offense. Josh Heupel don't know what to do against Georgia. Josh Heupel's more confused than a 2-year-old in a titty bar. He don't know which way to look. Is LSU going to be SEC champs? I'm not. No. Well, maybe, but I'm not changing my prediction after 1 week. I would change my prediction if I would have picked Bama, but I didn't. So I'm not changing my preseason predictions yet. I still have a feeling Brian Kelly's gonna do Brian Kelly shit and cost LSU some games at some point. Georgia versus LSU in the SEC championship. That's the way it looks right now. That's the way it looks right now. Todd Monken is the best OC in the NFL. He's the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL. I know that. I don't watch enough NFL to know who the best offensive coordinator is, but I know he's the highest paid. I did not put Kansas in my top 25, but if I did like an others receiving votes, the teams that would have been right outside my top 25 would have been Kansas and Utah. Florida is my 25th team. You have to watch the video. Florida is my 25th team. Florida State, I have it 19, I think. Here, I'll show you the top 25. I did a video today. I put out a video every Monday with the top 25, and it's like 30 minutes long. I don't expect everybody to agree with it, but I do explain why I have certain teams ranked where I do. So you won't agree with it all, but you'll at least know my explanation for it. So in the video, I explain this, but where it says UNLV 25, I always put my highest group of 5 team at 25 or higher. I do not think UNLV is the 25th best team in the country. But they're guaranteed a playoff spot, the group of 5 is. So people always ask me, who would your group of 5 team be? So whoever my group of 5 team would be, I put them at 25, but I would have Florida at 25. And I explain all that in the video. But I'd have Florida at 25. I moved Florida State up to 19. I dropped Alabama all the way out. I dropped Clemson to 15 because they lost at home. And of the highly ranked teams that lost, I think Alabama looked the worst, but Clemson looked the second worst. Their offensive line is bad, and they've got serious running back issues. They had to move a wide receiver to running back, and he's not any good. I think Clemson's got some issues. So of the high-ranked teams that lost, I moved Texas to 7. I moved Notre Dame to 8. They both lost on the road. Texas and Notre Dame did. Clemson lost at home and looked worse than Texas and Notre Dame to me. So I dropped Clemson all the way to 15. I only dropped Texas to 7 and Notre Dame to 8. Georgia ahead of LSU. I had LSU at 10. So LSU moved up more spots than anybody in my ranking. I moved LSU up 6 spots. Georgia moved up, I think, 3 spots, but it's because 3 teams ahead of them lost. I didn't move Georgia up because they beat Marshall. I moved Georgia up because 3 teams ahead of them lost. I had no choice but to move them up. Giving Indiana too much credit. All right, that's the game. 48-14 is the final. Embarrassing performance from Bill Belichick in North Carolina. Got absolutely destroyed at home by TCU. So I'll be curious to see what Bill Belichick has to say in his post-game press conference. And we'll see if Jordan is in there with him. Vols to the Wall says, good stream. Joy for Heisman. UJ is not legit because their QB has a linebacker number. Go Vols. Matthew Watson, Will Muschamp, Masterman. Oh, yeah, that's right. Vols by 70. Yeah. All right. I hope y'all had a good time. I did, too. Make sure you download the Sleeper app. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring these game streams this year. Download the Sleeper app. Have yourself some fun watching these college football games this year. It's really easy, and it's a lot of fun to do. Sleeper is available in Georgia, where I live, and over 30 other states. So check them out today. Use promo code Lou. And on your first deposit, they're going to give you a 100% match up to $100. So a free $100 courtesy of Uncle Lou. Download the Sleeper app today. You'll be glad you did. All right, everybody. Call-in show tomorrow night at 9. So if y'all want to give me a call, talk about this past weekend's games or next weekend's games, or tell me I'm an idiot and my top 25 doesn't make any sense, whatever you want to do. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, we'll have a call-in show. You can call, talk to Uncle Lou. About college football. We'll have a good time. Have a great week, and I'll see you all soon.